Stop this music here. Welcome to the Phenomenonormal podcast. I am Josh, joined by my co-host Aaron once again on October 3rd, 5 p.m. Eastern. Just going through all the numbers here. I have no idea what to talk about or start this today. Alright, so our topic today, as you can see by the screen, is the human sixth sense. This is my topic for the week. Next week will be Aaron's topic, and we are still trying to figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Alright, so with that being said, we still have nobody in our Discord that has joined. So if you'd like to be a part of our discussions and talk with us here on the show, join the Discord. Follow the rules there, accept the rules. I think the thing is still bugged. I'm working this out as best I can. I'm not a Discord guru. But, yep, we'll go ahead and just accept the rules, then read the rules. That's how it's going to work for now. From there, if you'd like to talk with us, join one of our open lines. Open line 1 has 2 people that are allowed to join. Open line 2 has 4 people that can join. While you're waiting in there, if anyone else is in the community, you can talk with them there. You'll be pulled up into the waiting room. Once you're in the waiting room, we will be able to see that, either myself or Aaron, and we will pull you into the broadcast room to talk with us.
It'd be great stuff. Voices.
And once you're on the broadcasting room or broadcast studio, you will be on the show with us, and you will be able to talk with us here. Alternatively, you can join the hangout on there and just talk with the other members of our channel, or go into the general chat. Talk about certain topics, whatever you guys want to do. Please join the Discord. It is in the stream chat. It's also on our homepage on our Twitch, as well as on YouTube. If you're not having gone to our YouTube yet, we have all of our episodes that we have done so far. This is episode 7, I believe, of this podcast, and this will be posted later today on YouTube as well. So go over there, watch our videos. Leave us a like, a comment, leave us a dislike if you don't like the videos. Let us know how to improve.
Exactly. The only way we can improve is by knowing what we're doing wrong, and if we don't know what we're doing wrong, we can't change anything.
There's a lot that we're doing wrong.
Well, we're still getting used to it, but I'll tell you what, I'll also post the YouTube in the chat just to make it easier to find, because sometimes when you just type in Phenomenormal, Phenomenon on YouTube. Sometimes it doesn't appear yet, so
Yeah, I did
make
realize
that
that.
easier.
I
Yeah,
typed that in, it doesn't pop up, and it's weird.
yeah.
Um,
It's YouTube for you. Once we
yeah,
start getting more views and stuff, it'll eventually start showing up.
right. I did type it in the other day, and actually one of our videos did pop up, but you had to scroll down a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, come join us out, or come check us out on YouTube. Give us a follow over there, subscribe, whatever they call it there. Follow us here on Twitch. I am working out a way so we can do our podcast as well on Spotify right now. So we should be on there maybe a week or two from now. Or no, not next week, but the week or two from next week, we might be on there. What else do I
Great.
have to say for our announcements? We got a little bit of time.
Um.
Let's see here.
Oh, October 31st
October
on
31st.
Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween night. Yep, we are going to have our special that night. 12 p.m. Eastern. We will be doing a 2-hour stream, or roughly 2 hours. We're gonna be telling ghost stories.
Yeah.
So that'll be our little special for you guys. You don't want to miss that. If you are a viewer on here, I see a lot of you returned inside the stream chat. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. Tell them to come check us out on October 31st. If you don't want to watch us any other time, that's fine. But check us out October 31st. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
We are, like I said, at noon we'll be doing ghost stories for a couple hours, and then we'll have our normal show at 5 p.m. and we will be talking about the paranormal then, which is everybody's favorite topic, I think.
Oh yeah, and midnight is magical time. Supposed to be the Devil's Hour, supposedly, and up till 3 a.m.
Yeah, so it's gonna be
So
a fun discussion. Check us out on October 31st for our special. Um,
definitely.
I have even made special backgrounds and banners, and oh my, it's gonna look fabulous, guys.
Oh yeah,
Fabulous. Yeah,
indeed.
it's gonna be great. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I am excited for that. I can't wait to have you guys join us for that show. Um,
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking about maybe doing a special for Christmas as well, but that's something that we haven't discussed yet. So I'll
Yeah.
keep that to myself.
It'd be one of those because Christmas dinner with my mum and all that. So we'll have to try and figure out a time
Yeah,
works for us both with the time discrepancy.
right. Um, I think we're supposed to have our stream on the 26th, so it should be the day after Christmas that we might have this special. That way everybody can
Maybe,
be with their
yeah.
families and they're not on their tablets and phones and watching us.
Yeah,
And then we
no.
could spend time with our families and friends.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so today's going to be a great episode. We're going to talk about the human sixth sense, meaning our psychic sense. Right? So
Yeah.
we have our typical five senses. We have our touch, our smell, our hearing, our taste, and our sight, right? Sight,
Yeah.
touch, smell,
Sorry.
hearing, taste. Yeah. So those are our typical five senses, right? And our sixth sense is our psychic sense, right? Now, when people think of
Yeah.
psychic, they think of like I don't know, like psychic abilities to like push people with nothing or move objects like
Oh,
telekinesis.
kinetics, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily this human sixth sense, right? Our human
No,
sixth sense
definitely not.
is more or less like comes to us mainly when we dream.
Yeah.
Um,
And there are also some other times as well where you feel like you're being watched. You can't see it, but it's like you sense somebody's watching you. And
right,
oftentimes it can turn out to be true. And there's no way you'd know that without being able to see them, but somehow you just happen to have that foreboding feeling. It's a strange one 'cause it's not something you can actively define and just be like, oh, this is happening right now. It's one of those flights of fancy moments where you'll have this experience and you'll be like, how did I know that? Like, how? You know?
right.
Um,
So these are what these six senses are, right? So they come to us in dreams. They come to us sometimes when we're conscious as well. And like you
yeah,
said, like Aaron said, with the you feel like you're being watched. It can also come to us in ways of connection. So when we think of like reading someone's mind, right? It's not necessarily I know what they're saying, right?
Yeah.
It's more of a emotion connection that we get with people, right?
Right.
Um, like when you fall in love with somebody, right? That's something that can be attributed to the sixth sense, right? Like this
Yeah.
is the one, right? When you know that's the one for you, right? And you just have this strong emotional connection to them, and they have that back towards you. You guys are connecting on that mental psychic level that it's like this is meant to be, right?
Yeah.
That's a human sixth sense, right, guys? So
Yeah.
that's what we're gonna be kind of going over about in this and these topics and the segments here.
Hmm.
But for now, we're gonna take our short little 5 minute break here at the beginning, and then we'll go ahead and get into this. See you
Yep.
guys here
Sounds
soon.
good. Be back soon. Yeah.
We are back. All right, guys. Welcome
Hello.
back to our little show here. So I'm gonna start things off
Yeah.
with talking about I guess the emotions, right?
Mm.
So when we think of emotions, and this sense of you know, our psyche, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so there was times even when I was in England and I was seeing you,
Yeah.
where I had emotional connections with you as well, to where it was like,
Oh yeah.
um, I knew like when you were hungry, I knew when you were bored,
Right.
and it's not just I was seeing you and I knew, right? Like I could be
Yeah.
downstairs grabbing something out the fridge and you were upstairs still, and I was just
Yeah.
like, you know what? He's probably bored. Let's go do something. Like I just had this
Right.
feeling, right? And it wasn't that I was
Yeah.
bored. Like we were playing a video game or something.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, he's probably just bored. Let's go out and go do something. And we went to the movies that night.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, you know, it's just, you know, we have these connections, and a lot of times people don't know that we're having these
Yeah.
connections with somebody, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people pass it off as a, well, I'm thinking this, so they're probably not thinking this, you know.
Right.
But realistically, um, sorry, that was weird. Something just popped up my screen and it went away. But so people don't follow the signs.
Right.
So when people don't, how do I say this in a way that is easy to explain? So if you don't, the coincidences, right? A coincidence,
Coincidence.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you think it's just coincidence. All right. Yeah. It's probably whatever. You know. I lucky guess. You know. Coincidence. Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not the case. Most of the times it's not the case. Most of the time you are connecting with that individual on this emotional spectrum.
Yes.
And you know, when you discover that, yeah, this is what I'm doing, you're going to be able to start controlling this ability, right?
Yeah.
And it took me a very long time to figure out how to do it for myself, and I'm still not even perfect at it, right? I'm by
Yeah.
no means perfect at this. I've developed ways to where, especially when I'm, you know, I've known somebody for a while. It's easier for me to do. Like me and Aaron, I've known him
Yeah.
for many years,
Oh.
and I mean he's across the pond over there, and I can still kind of
Yeah.
sense, okay, I don't think he's doing too well today. Maybe I should call him.
Yeah.
You know, and I've called him, and he's like, hey, thanks for calling me today. I needed this. You
Yeah.
know, and he's done the same for me, and that's just that connection that we share. Um, I've had other friends as well where it's like I'm able to just like know like, okay, I need to call this person. I need to talk to this person because something's not right. And
Yeah.
I'm getting this like
Fine.
feeling that it's just
Yeah.
something's not right. Something's off, right? And it's not always that kind of sense too. Like I said, you know, if you fall in love with somebody, right, and you just have that like butterfly in your stomach kind of feel, you know, and that's your sixth sense, right? That's your mind is connecting with something.
Yeah.
Um, our minds are so much more powerful than what we think they are. There was a rumor a long time ago. They say, "Oh, we only use 10% of our brains." Blah 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 blah. That's been
Yeah.
a false statement for years. We actually use 100% of our brains. Um, it's just that there's some things in the brain that we don't tap into. Right?
Yeah.
The brain is essentially a giant. It's a flesh computer. That's what it is.
Yeah. Pretty much.
All
Yeah.
right. It controls our entire existence. But the sixth sense is kind of the soul in a way, right?
Yeah.
It's the bridge between the soul and your mind,
Yeah.
right?
It's
For years, you know, people call this the third eye sometimes,
yeah. The mind's eye
the
and
mind's eye, right? Um,
yeah.
so that's what this is, right? Uh, we develop these strong connections, and I mean, you can do it with strangers when you get good enough with it, right? And that's where, you know, you see people
Yeah.
like these psychics. You know, you can go to a psychic and they'll do like readings on you, right? And they can kind of I wouldn't say like a real psychic. They don't really predict your future, right?
No.
So if you go to a psychic and they're telling you, oh, you're gonna have fame and wealth and a family and all,
They're,
this, they're lying to you, right?
you're gonna marry rich
Right.
or but not be
They're, those
happy.
people are scams. They're lying to you,
Yeah.
and they're just trying to get your money, right?
Yeah.
Now, a real psychic, they're gonna tell you, well, you know, how you are connecting to this world on a emotional level, right? And they're
Yeah.
gonna read your emotions, and they're gonna be able to tell you what you are capable of doing, right? Based
Yeah.
off your emotions. So, oh, will I ever
Mm.
be rich and famous one day? Well, based off your emotions, you're very all over the place, right? So I doubt it. You know, they might say something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Like your path more lies with this is what you probably should be doing, and they're not really predicting your future, but they're giving you insight on yourself.
Yeah. I mean, there's been people that have been able to read me, like, even through just typing. Like, it's strange. Like, these people have never spoken to me in terms of, like, voice and whatnot. I've had people that I've spoken to online and whatnot, we're just typing and whatnot. And they've been able to read me as a person, oddly enough, without even, seeing my facial expressions and all that. They just pick up on it and know it. It's a very strange. It's a very strange phenomenon at the end of the day because you're like, how do they know? But some
Mm.
people just have that ability to be able to do so. Like people say that you can read people's social cues and things like that, but sometimes it can go a lot deeper where you don't even give off any any cues or anything like that, and people just know stuff. It's like they can feel you out just by being around you. It's a very strange phenomenon. Um,
So
because
yeah, go
it's
ahead.
hard to comprehend. Sorry, I was just trying to think of a way to close that.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It was just more so like, yeah, it's just hard to comprehend because you're like, how? Like, how did you know that? I've not said anything. I'm not giving it off. I mean, a lot of the times throughout life, I've worn a fake smile on my face.
Mm-hmm.
I seem all happy and pleasant in front of people. Like, I'm great, but emotionally, I could be on the inside really suffering because something's happened, and people just are able to just know even though I've not let it slip or shown it in any way, because I've kept this mask up essentially to try and make myself seem all happy and giddy. The whole entire time I've been around them, I've never pulled a sad face or a frown or anything. They just somehow are able to pick up on it, and it's just like, how? How do you do this? It's not something that's easy to explain because the concept of it itself is a complicated one. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it definitely does. And I'm trying to find this video here. I had it pulled up yesterday, and I accidentally closed up my page, and yeah, I'll find it later during one of our breaks. But there was this. I don't know if it was Britain's Got Talent, America's Got Talent, one of the two shows, right? There was a man wearing a mask. He was dressed in all black, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and he pulled two of the judges up there, or not judges, I guess. I don't know. The ones that hit the buzzers. Anyways, he pulled two
Yeah.
of them up on stage, right? Had them sit down in a chair, right?
Yeah.
Blindfolded both of them, right? And there's like audio recording. Like I don't think it's actually his voice. It's just an audio recording. And he's like, "All right, now I'm going to touch one of you, and then you're gonna tell like, point on your body where I just touched you, right?" So he'd like touch one of the judges on the right shoulder, right? And both of them would point to the right shoulder, right?
Right.
Okay, and he'd walk around, touch him on the knee, on like the right knee. Both of them point to the right knee, and he's only touching one, right?
Yeah.
So I'll show the video later. I'll find it on here. But this is that psychic ability, right? Those two judges were connected mentally there, right?
Yeah.
And they're both feeling that sense of touch together, even
Yeah.
though only one of them's actually feeling it, all right? And then they were doing a thing where he told one of the judges hold up any number of fingers, right? So you'd hold up a certain amount of fingers and then tell the other judge, all right, how many fingers is he holding up? And they would know. Mind you, they're blindfolded.
Yeah.
So this is, showing that like they're connecting mentally and not through sight or any other senses here.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, and I mean people were freaking out in the audience, and it's funny because like he's demonstrating too. This is just two random judges. They're not part of the show. Other than to judge him if he's good enough or if he's got talent. And it's not necessarily a
Yeah.
talent, it's just something that we all have.
Yeah.
You know,
We all have this
we all
ability.
have this ability. It's just a matter of tapping into it, right?
Yeah.
Um, I know people through hypnosis, some people call it a hoax, some people say it's real. I don't know. I've never had hypnosis. I assume it's real, right?
Yeah.
Because people through hypnosis have said that they've able to recall certain things that um, they couldn't remember, right? They tap into a
Right.
different part of their mind, into their memory that they had locked away. But they've also come out with, okay, while I was under hypnosis, I was sensing something's not right with, something at home with you. They were able to
Right.
recognize something. Um, I've heard on different radio shows and stuff. These like hypnotherapist type people put someone under, and person was like, "Something's troubling you at home, something between you and your wife." And apparently, the hypnosis guy there, he was going through a divorce with his wife, but
Right.
this lady knew that while under hypnosis. They've never talked about it, so it's interesting to
Hmm.
say, that we have these connections, and a lot of people just don't think it's not one of these senses where you have to think about it. It comes
Yeah.
natural, and you have to allow it to come natural. If you try and
Yeah.
force it, it tends to lock itself away, right? It's
Yeah.
not like our other senses, right? Like taste is natural as well. When you taste something, it's just natural. You don't try to taste all the flavors. It just happens,
Right.
right? When you touch something, you feel something. You don't try to feel something. It just happens naturally. Right?
Yeah.
And that's there's no difference with this sixth sense as well, right? With your
Hmm.
mental sense, you have to let it happen naturally. But it's also the only sense that we have that you have to try to have it happen, right? It's the only one that you can
Yeah.
try to force, if that makes sense, right? It's a little weird,
Yeah.
right? You can't force your sight, you can't force your taste, you can't force your hearing, right? You could try and
Right.
hear better or see further, or you could try to do those things. But what happens when you try to do that? If I try to hear something, like really listen in, sometimes things get muffled, and I hear like sometimes
Yeah.
people get tinnitus. When you try to zoom in with your focus and actually try and focus something, it gets blurry, right?
Yeah. Or sometimes you can just completely look it over because you're looking too
Right.
hard.
So that's what happens when with one of our senses as humans, that when we try to force it, right? We're trying to force our sense. We're like, well, I'm in control. I can do this, and we force it, and
Yeah.
then it just doesn't work the way that we want it to.
Right.
The mental sense is the same thing, right?
Yeah.
When you try to force this, like, oh, I can read your mind. Let me read your mind. Let me really hone in on it, right? It's not
Yeah.
gonna work. You're gonna have a mental block, right?
Yeah.
Um, but when you just let it happen naturally and it flows, you'll have a better chance of, getting into someone else's mind, or using your mind to that capability, right?
Yeah.
It also it's not impossible to go into someone's mind like that by yourself too, but it is easier when someone allows you into their mind as well.
Yeah.
So if someone is connected like that, right, and you're both very like skilled into this, right, and you allow each other to enter each other's minds, you can almost talk telepathically with each other.
Right.
But it's not in a way of, you know, hey, how are you? Oh, I'm doing good. It's not a conversation when you talk telepathically. It's more
No.
emotion based, right? We're able to read each
Yeah.
other's emotions through our minds.
Right.
So hey, how are you? Is I know it's me sensing that there's something either not right or you're doing very well, right? If you're doing very well, I'm probably not gonna sense that and communicate it to them that way of, oh, hey, how are you? It's
Yeah.
be more of a like, hey, it's a good to see you kind of thing, and I'm gonna give off that kind of feel to them if I know they're doing good.
Yeah.
Um, so you can do that when talking. I mean, I definitely think that maybe someday humans may evolve to not have speech at all, and it's just going to be all telepathic. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, this is
I
not going to be in
mean,
my lifetime, that's for sure. But you know,
twins. Yeah, twins kind of already have that ability. They're able
hmm
to finish each other's sentences and all sorts. Like it's weird because a twin is essentially, you're a twin. It's like having a copy of you to a degree. The twins have a strengthened ability to do this. A lot of the times they'll be able to tell what the other's thinking, say the same things at the same time because they are so connected in that sense. Many people could just say, well, you're twins, you probably just have the same brain. But if you actually think about this, the probability of coming out with the same thing, saying the same thing, thinking the same thing, out of the millions and billions of different things you could be thinking or saying, you can't just say it's just because you have the same brain. There's
Right.
something more going on there. I mean, sometimes you can sense when something bad has happened without being near somebody. You can tell if somebody's gotten hurt. Sometimes you can kind of tell they've been hurt, and you're nowhere near them. You could be hours away, and somehow you just have this inherent feeling like something bad's just happened.
And
It's have this sense of overwhelming.
one thing I noticed is this happens typically with, like you said, like twins will have this, but conjoined twins typically don't really have this connection either. I've noticed,
Right.
which I find is very odd. But there hasn't been enough study into it either, mainly because
Yeah.
there's not very many conjoined twins. um,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's a very interesting thing that if more would be willing to submit for testing on that, then um, we could learn more about that as well.
Yeah.
But as far as the twins go, yeah, absolutely. And it's weird because, like, me and my brother, we're not twins, but I have a very hard time reading his emotions and reading his mind, right?
Yeah.
Knowing what's on his mind. I'm not very connected with him in the way that I'm connected with, like, say, you know?
Right.
Um, so it's a bit harder, but there are times where I am able to tap into it and I'm able to be like, okay, well, something's going on with him.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of times it's like I can tell that much, but I don't know what. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Um, so it's still a very new realm to me for these skills. Learning
Hmm.
about this sense, I've been trying to learn more about it. Um,
Yeah.
just because I've been able to tap into some of it, and it's definitely opened up my eyes to a broader spectrum of what I thought humans were capable of.
Yeah. Well, it's like we all have some kind of type of energy field to a degree, like an aura, people call it.
Hmm. Yep.
That we all inherently have. Like I'm a deep sleeper, but if somebody enters my room, even if they make no noise, even if they tiptoe in my room, I will wake up like I just know somebody's just entered my room. Like I just sensed it. It's very strange. There's been times where spiders don't really make any noise, and I could just tell there's a spider in the room. It's like I've been able to somehow sense a spider has entered. And there was a time when I was on a Skype call with one of my exes, and spiders like to sometimes gather around near my light because of the warmth and whatnot. Sometimes they'll dangle down the web. And it's weird because many times I would look up, like I just know it's starting to dangle down on the web and come down. There's no way I can know it's there. I've not seen it. I've not perceived it, but somehow I just knew it was there, and I kept making a joke of it. Oh, my spider senses are tingling. It's funny and all that. But it's weird. It's like we all have kind of a field around us to a degree that we can sometimes tap into without consciously tapping into it. It's like a subconscious thing. That's something that I've personally tried to do. I've just happened to,
Right. Right.
and it's. I don't know how else you'd explain it by having like sort of like an energy field around you that you can kind of perceive things from. Possibly that's why sometimes you can tell when someone's watching you. Maybe they're inside that energy field and you can feel the energy from them, and that's why you're able to tell someone's watching you without being able to see them. Um, I don't know how else you'd explain it, but that concept really, because it's not something that's simple.
Oh, absolutely. And I've definitely had that moment as well. Not maybe not with spiders. I'm not Spider Man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start calling you Peter Parker. Uh, but I've had strange feelings like I'm being watched or there's something around me. I've
Yeah,
had these quite often, especially at work or when I'm just in my room alone.
yeah,
Uh, I haven't had these feelings typically during the day. It's mostly at night, so I'm thinking this might be more spirit energy.
yeah,
But there has been times where I do feel it during the day as well. Uh,
yeah,
uh, and I know there's been reports like people who have been stalked before. They just have this feeling like they know they're being watched and someone's following them, and that's the case usually comes out true where they are. You know,
yeah,
even if they don't see the person or know the person's there, they like have this feeling like the person's there,
yeah.
and
Um,
we've been calling these people schizophrenic for so long. Some people are. Some people are where they're just hearing and seeing things,
yeah,
right? But some people actually are seeing and believing that things are there, right?
yeah.
And
I
there's
mean,
been more and more studies in this,
hmm,
and these studies have been showing that okay, there was something, there is somebody, there is this, there is that. So
yeah.
maybe schizophrenics aren't crazy. Maybe they're just tapping into a different, you know, I don't want to say dimension, but a different plane of existence.
Yeah, I mean, these they say that people with ADHD, schizophrenia, and many other mental disabilities have better abilities to sense things, like spirits and things. For example, we can get into that topic more on Halloween and whatnot with the paranormal and stuff. But they say that because your brain isn't 100% there because of your disabilities, that sometimes you're able to perceive things better, sense things better, like something's there that you can't actually see. I have ADHD, schizophrenia, and there's a house across the road from me. And whenever I'm in their bathroom, I get a really strange feeling like something's there. And funnily enough, the person that used to live there, was one of my childhood friends and whatnot. They moved out, and a new person moved in. And I was over there with my mum, and we were having a drink and just having a talk. And she started talking to me about it. She was like, because she was a social worker and things like, she works with children and all that kind of stuff. And, she was like, I feel like there's something in this house. And she goes, do you have that feeling? And I said, yeah, I've had that feeling for years. Like, whenever I'm in the bathroom, like, the other rooms of the house, not so much, but the bathroom, there was just an odd feeling I'm getting that I just can't understand. But they've actually brought this up to me, and I'm just sat there, just like, and they mentioned to me about how possibly the people with disabilities have a better chance of sensing things. Do I sense it being malevolent and whatnot? And I can't quite pin the feeling that I get in that bathroom. It doesn't feel malevolent, but I don't exactly feel safe as well. It's hard to explain. It's almost like I just feel like something's there, just peering at me whenever I'm in that room. Now, I'm not psychic by any means, but I've had a few other experiences here in my own house. And this is where I'm going to bring up my dog Daisy. My dog Daisy sadly passed away this year. So Daisy would be in my room, laying on my bed, and I would often get this urge to look into the corner of my room behind my bedroom door. And I don't know why. It's just like I could be sat there playing a game, my brain's completely distracted, and I'll just look in the corner of my room like something's pulled my attention to it. And I've had Daisy be lying on my bed, and Daisy's been fast asleep, and Daisy's woken up and growled at that corner of the room at
Hmm.
the same time I've looked. Now, that's strange. Like, I can't see something there. I'm not seeing an apparition or anything, but it's like I feel something's there. It's so hard to explain because I don't know how to comprehend it even myself, being the person that's sensing this thing. But they say animals also have this ability to see things that we can't.
So
So
animals, they have said that animals are more connected to this kind of plane of existence than humans are, and that's for
Yeah.
they're not as so humans are more obsessed, and I wouldn't say obsessed, but more in tune with the physical world, right? We
Right.
are in tune with this physical world. We go to work, we have relationships, we do this, we do that. Everything that we do is in the physical world, right?
Yeah.
And we're not concerned so much with the other world, right? The other planes, right, of
Yeah.
existence, right? If you would. But animals, they don't have this physical world attachment like humans have, right?
Mm.
So we are more attached to the physical world, where they're more attached to a spiritual world.
Yeah.
Because with say dogs, for instance, or cats, or anything really, right? They do get attached to us as humans, but they're not looking to go to work. They're not looking for a relationship. They're not looking
Right.
for they're just happy to be around, right?
Right.
And then that's why you'll see like a lot of dogs or cats or whatever, they get like sketched out by certain areas in a house sometimes, or when they're walking they think they see something,
Yeah.
but you're not seeing anything. You're like, what is it? They're seeing
Yeah.
something. It's just
Right.
you can't see it because you're not attached to that realm like they are.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not even seeing it, but they're sensing it. Like you said, almost like the auras, right? And there's
Yeah.
been a lot of studies going into this lately. Maybe I can pull up some of these studies here for the show after a break. But
Yeah.
if I could find some of them, but I have heard of a lot of different studies on animals and testing and seeing if they're, what their connection to the spiritual plane of existence, spiritual world is.
Yeah.
But yeah, they want to like, or they're telling us like, hey, there's something here
Yeah.
that doesn't belong here. Whether it's good or bad, they let us know. And when they do pass, they still do come to us.
Yeah.
Whether you think so or not, they do come to you. You just have to know the signs that they're giving you.
Yeah.
So maybe if you're feeling that feeling in the corner there, it could be your dog, that passed away, is telling you, hey, there's still something here.
Yeah.
You know. Um. Also, if you have like a loved one that passed on or something, if you talk to them, right? Because they can hear you still. They can definitely hear you.
Yeah.
We'll go into this in our next segment here, but ask them, uh, ask them, be like, hey, give me a sign here. Give me a sign in my dream, right? Like, be really
Yeah.
adamant about it. Like, you have to tell them, like, hey, I want you to give me a sign in my dream tonight. Let me
Yeah.
know everything is okay. Let me know how you are. I need to know
Yeah.
that you're doing all right. And really communicate to them that you need this. You need this to help you cope. You need this to help you whatever,
Yeah.
right? And when you go to bed, think of that person or that animal, and think positive thoughts about them, and the good times you had. And when you do finally fall asleep, the chances of you having that vivid dream of something happening are far more uh,
Likely.
likely to happen. Um,
Yeah.
so I recommend for people to try and do that. Now I'm not a expert in this field, but I have looked up different stories, and I've read articles from people who are experts in this field. Um, so I definitely, I've had moments where that's happened, where I needed to know, okay, are they okay? Is everything all right?
Yeah.
And I've asked that person, or my pets, like, to be with me, and I've had very positive dreams of that.
Yeah.
They showed me that yes, they're okay, and people just say, oh, it's just a dream. No, well, maybe it's just a dream, but I definitely think it's more than just a dream. I think that's your actual psychic consciousness and your and this other plane that are telling you everything's okay. You're
Yeah.
connecting into
Um,
that mental sense.
I mean, they do say that some people leave their bodies while asleep to a degree. Like if you just trying to think what the name of that horror movie was, but can't quite remember the name of it, but anyway, it was about when a child was asleep, a spirit would come for them, so to speak, because they're leaving their body and they're essentially kind of exploring, and that's leaving them vulnerable. They say that spirits can sometimes come to you in your dreams and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that you do somewhat leave your body to a degree when you're sleeping.
So that's something
Not
that we'll go over too in this next segment as well. Is
yeah,
the outer body experiences, the what they call it, the NDE, near death experiences, um,
yeah,
and the dream state. We're gonna go over all that in our next segment here.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And
but yeah,
yeah, if
they call it like the astral body.
astral, that's it,
Yeah,
that's
the
it. Yeah,
astral
astral
body,
projection.
astral projections, astral body, right?
Yeah,
Like Doctor Strange, right? It's what
never
it
seen
is.
it,
It's
but yeah,
it's basically what it is, right? You're projecting your consciousness, your mental being essentially, and it's an outer
yeah,
body experience. A lot of people have these, these OBEs, where they see themselves sleeping.
yeah.
Um,
It's
I
also so
can't
you could,
I can't remember, but I do feel like I had at least one of those. But
yeah,
it's so my memory is so foggy on it that I don't even remember.
yeah,
I have a feeling like it happened to me, but and I have like faint memories of it, but it's I can't say without a doubt it has happened to me. If
yeah,
It's hard to explain, but it's yeah, I can't even explain it. It's
yeah.
something
It's
it's hard to explain. Um,
mm,
it was more of a feeling than it is a memory.
yeah. Yeah, I've an experience to share on that myself and stuff, which I'll talk about in the next segment because, like, it was one of the most scariest feelings I ever had. This
Okay.
experience happened to me.
So
I
we'll go
will
ahead and
talk about that.
let's take an early break. We'll do 15 minutes on this break here, and then when we come
Yeah,
back, you can share your experiences.
yeah, sounds good.
Alrighty, we'll see you
All
guys
right.
then.
Yeah.
Alright, we are back live.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm just kind of vibing out to this music. Alright, so we are live again. I did find that video from, I guess it's Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and mute us.
Right.
And then I'll go ahead and play it. Go ahead and turn off the mute. Alright, so we'll be back after this little video. I just kind of wanted to show you what I was talking about with like the touching and senses. So they're not blindfolded, but they do have their eyes closed, and he is standing directly behind them. So they can't really see him, right?
Right.
So watch this.
Touch. You feel a touch. If you felt a touch, raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. And now with your right fingers, show us how many times you felt a touch. Lower your hands and open your eyes now. Your connection is incredible, incredible. For the ultimate test of connection, please take a pen each. I also have a board for you both. For this to possibly work, let your subconscious minds connect. Begin drawing now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When two people are truly connected, the impossible is possible. Ant and Dec, you may open your eyes. Your connection with each other is truly inspirational. We have just witnessed the ultimate connection.
No way.
So right there, like it's insane, you know.
Yeah.
So I just, that was the video right there I wanted to show, and that they literally had the same exact thing that they drew. They other one felt the same amount of touches, the 3 touches on the right shoulder.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at, is that these connections are real. This is a mental connection that we share with each other. And it's not just them two. Like they're connected. Obviously, they're very close to each other.
Oh yeah, Ant and Dec have been like together for I don't know how many years, but in the 20
but they have
years,
they have a very strong connection with each other. But the fact that they were able to even draw the same thing with their eyes closed.
Yeah. That's it.
That's what I'm trying to get at with this is we're all mentally connected to one another. It's just tapping into it, and you have to allow it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But you had a story before the break, so I'll let you kind of take the spotlight here and go ahead and share your experience.
So before we took the break, I mentioned about how I had sort of like an out of body experience during a dream. And I do believe this is something we are all capable of. Do you not find it strange how sometimes you can feel things in your dream? When you touch something, you feel it. Try and think of touching a football right now. Can you feel a football on your fingertips? Most likely not. But when you're dreaming and you touch a football, you could feel a football being physically touched during your dream, which is incredibly strange. If we can't, while awake, consciously bring up that feeling, but during a dream, you can 100% feel it, there's obviously something more going on there. Now, this out-of-body experience I had is very different. So, I was in a black void, and I'm running and jumping. Something's chasing me, and I can hear breathing behind me. Not in the dream. I feel like something is literally breathing behind me. And I felt my body violently shaking, like I was having some sort of fit. I could feel myself violently convulsing, shaking, vibrating, and during the whole process, I'm being chased around in my dreams during this, and it woke me up. And I felt myself still shaking as I woke up. And I felt like I'd literally been attacked by something, like something had come for me. And it was the most bizarre, frightening experience I've ever had during sleeping. I don't know how to explain it, but I could feel myself violently shaking during this dream, but it wasn't shaking in sort of like a scared sense, like violently shaking, like I was having a fit during this dream. And they do say, supposedly, when you're dreaming and you leave your body, sometimes things will come for you looking for a body to possess, or basically a host to take over. They say some spirits seek out those who do this astral projection thing because they're looking for a way to get back to the physical realm. And because of that experience, it's made me a firm believer that this is something that actually can happen because of the experience I had. It was so surreal and bizarre. Like, I've had plenty of dreams where I've been chased, but I've never been able to feel something physically breathing on my body or feel my body shaking during a dream or anything like that. But that one night, I've never had the experience again since. It was just that one night. It scared the living hell out of me. I felt like I'd just been attacked by something. I had this overwhelming feeling that something was trying to get me.
Yeah.
And
It's interesting.
like I panicked and climbed out of bed and rushed and turned the light on. That's how scared I was.
My plan failed. No.
No, but
I've had feelings similar to that. Not necessarily like out of body, but like just I've been awake. Oh, I've woke up in the middle of the night to some sort of odd feeling in my room, and I've had to get out of Dodge. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah. There's also been times. Have you ever been lying in bed and you feel like you've slipped somehow?
Yes.
Like not like you feel like your body's literally slipped and fell into the bed, which is strange because you're lying down, but your body's literally slipped somehow into the bed during a dream. Like, how? Because that doesn't make sense. If my back's on a bed and I'm sleeping, how have I slipped in my bed? It's almost as if like part of me possibly wasn't in my body and somehow I've fell back into my body or something. I don't know how you explain it. It's such a weird, bizarre, strange feeling because I want one of you to climb into your bed right now on hearing this. I want you to lie down and try and make yourself feel like you're slipping while you're lying down. Make yourself feel like you've slipped, like a full-on slip. You can't. You can't do it. You can make your legs slide down the bed and then your leg straightens, but you can't make yourself feel like you've slipped.
Yeah, I've definitely had similar feelings.
Yeah.
But so the dream state is very odd. I don't. A lot of us typically don't remember our dreams. Because every
Yeah.
night, every night when someone goes to bed or day or whatever, whenever you sleep, you dream.
Yeah.
Everyone dreams, right? Every single time you go to bed, right? Every time you go to sleep, you're dreaming. It's at some point throughout the night. It's just when people wake up, a lot of people don't remember the dream.
Yeah. Or they'll remember it if the time goes on, it'll disappear from memory.
Right. So, some people keep dream journals, right? So when they wake up, they write down their dream, what happened, right? How they were feeling, right? I don't keep a dream journal. I probably should, but I don't remember a lot of my dreams, especially nowadays, right? I don't remember what happens, right? However, what I do remember a lot of times is my emotion when I wake up, right?
Right.
I'm either happy or angry or sad or whatever whenever I wake up, right? And that right there is an indication of what you were dreaming about, right?
Right.
Like today when I got up, I was very, I would say content. I was just very content waking up, and a little groggy. I mean, I'm always groggy whenever I wake up. Just because of lack of sleep, I think. But I was very content, meaning that whatever I was dreaming about, I wasn't, it wasn't a bad dream, wasn't really a good dream. It was just probably a meh, something happened dream. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm not really, I guess, concerned about whatever I was dreaming about last night. I didn't have no like bad feelings or anything waking up. So
Yeah.
and also pay attention to when you are going to bed too. For some people, this might keep you up, but you know, determine your emotion before you go to bed. You know, what kind of
Yeah.
mood are you in before you're going to bed, right? And
Yeah.
right at that point of you going to sleep, you know, you know, try to remember what you were feeling right before that moment, because that also can have a lot of play into what you might dream about.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
so
sometimes things that you think about a lot during the day can sometimes come to you in your dream if you've had enough thought on it
right,
as well. So if you're, say, thinking about, I don't know, say, a movie a lot, you could potentially have a dream because earlier during the day you was thinking about a movie
right.
too much, and you'll dream about that
So
movie.
another
So it kind of
another thing
affects.
is they say when you dream,
Mm,
um, your loved ones are. It's easier for your loved ones to come to you in your dreams, right?
yeah,
I guess it's some sort of like because you're in a passive state, so it's easier for them
yeah,
to come to you. So if you're seeing loved ones in your dreams, it's more than likely that loved ones that passed away, then it's more than
yeah,
likely that they're coming to visit you. Like they're actually there. They're with you
yeah.
in the room currently while you're sleeping, and they're visiting you in your dream.
Yeah. I mean, when some of my animals have passed away, I felt their presence in my room. Like one of my cats passed away years ago, and I could feel it, like laying down on the bed by my feet. I could feel the quilt getting heavy near my feet. Like they've come to say hello to a degree. I couldn't actually see them, but I felt like their presence was definitely there because it happened a few days after they passed away, almost as if to check up on me or
Mm.
something. And I could feel my quilt around my feet getting very heavy,
So
like something
yeah,
was
I
laying
I
down
had
next to
a
him.
similar experience to that a couple of nights ago. Actually, it was actually
Mm,
I was still awake, honestly, when this happened. But I was just getting comfy, getting ready to go to bed, and I started getting like really warm, like very, very, very warm, and
yeah,
like especially around my feet and my legs. And I was just wondering, like, okay, that's weird. So I kicked the blanket off, and instantly my legs get cold. Right, so I'm like,
right,
okay, maybe it's just the blankets. For some reason, it's like superheating my legs or something. I don't know.
yeah,
Um, and then when I put my legs back under my blanket, because my legs are getting cold now, I felt fur on my legs, which is very
yeah,
odd. But one of my our first dog, he used to shed all the time and just
yeah,
very thick coat, right? Well, it's the only
yeah,
dog that really had like a thick coat like that we had. Um, but I just had this feeling, a presence of him,
yeah,
and he was there by my legs. I felt that presence of him, so I felt like
yeah,
he was there visiting me and just laying next to me, and it gave me a feeling of peace as I went to bed because
yeah,
I was going through a lot a couple days ago and just not very good emotionally, and having that feeling and that presence there, it comforted me. And I think he
yeah.
just, I do think it was one of my dogs that passed away.
Yeah.
And I felt like
Because
he knew that I needed that.
yeah, animals are very good at sensing emotions. They can tell when you're frightened,
Um,
when you're scared, upset. They have a very good compass for that kind of stuff.
right. But yeah, so it's very odd. These feelings of that, and I know it sounds a lot like paranormal talks. I promise you, it's not. These are all senses, right? It's your
Yeah,
senses. It's your emotions. Right? Emotion is something we all have, but realistically, it's a sense. It's a sense that we all have. So,
yeah,
um, you know, people like to categorize it in different ways, but I like to categorize it this way. Um,
Yeah.
so and it's typically, you can do it with the living, but it does happen a lot with the dead. And
Yeah.
we can go into some of that, I guess, on Halloween as well. But I think Halloween's gonna be more about the actual like
Paranormal.
paranormal study
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, for I know, um, there's been other experiences as well. So like, one of my best friends, he passed away. God, how long ago was that? Like over 10 years ago.
Mm.
Um, and he I have this especially it's while I'm awake too. I'm at work, right? Whenever I'm at work, I work night shifts, and
Yeah.
I've been having these feelings that he's with me while I'm working, right?
Right.
And I again, maybe this is all just my mind playing tricks on me. I don't know, but I've been hearing his voice as well in my head as I'm doing my job, almost as if
Right.
he's talking to me, right? Like I can hear his voice, right? I feel his presence, and I hear his voice in my head, and I'm able to
Right.
talk. And if I say something, sometimes there's a pause, but then like I hear his voice again, say something, and the reason why I think it is real is because it's not something that I would think of that he would respond back to, you know?
Right.
It's something that he would literally say, like the way his mannerisms are, the way he talks. You know,
Yeah.
it comes out in a way that it's like it's his own thought being projected into my mind.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting because I've been having these conversations, whether I'm going crazy or not. Who knows? And I'm just
Mm.
talking to myself in my head, and I'm pretending it's my best friend that passed away, but it's I've been having these talks with him, and it's just been a very interesting experience, and it's helped me kind of cope with a lot of it as well. Knowing that he's doing all right, he's okay, he's happy, he's looking out for me. He's even things that I feel like I'm unsure about in my life. I've asked him like, "Hey, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing?" And I've heard, I'm not sure. I don't know. You need to figure
Yeah.
that out for yourself. Some things he's telling me, "Hey, no, don't do that. Do this."
Right.
And it's the way that him and I used to talk with each other, and him and I were very open together, and I think this my friend here, I'm not going to mention his name over the live, but
Yeah.
I've never had a stronger connection emotionally or however, with another human being like my best friend there. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a stronger connection to him than I've had with anybody, and not to say that my connection with, like, say, Aaron isn't strong,
Yeah.
but I've had a stronger connection with this guy here. Uh,
Yeah.
Up to the point where he passed away when I was sleeping when that happened, and in my dream even I just had this bad feeling, and then I got woken up to a phone call hearing that he passed away.
Right.
Like it shocked me awake almost right before I got like as soon
Yeah.
as I woke up I got the phone call.
Right.
Now
Almost like
he
you
he
sensed
passed
it.
away
Yeah.
hours before that, but like um it was, I guess maybe that was just him waking me up saying like, hey, you need to take this phone call now.
Yeah.
You know. Um but it's just that's how strong that connection was, and you know uh it was like nothing I've ever felt before. And then now, I mean, going on 11 years now, almost
Yeah.
12 since his passing. And I'm finally having these connections again, and I think it's because I'm opening myself up to this realm.
Yeah.
I've been very closed off to all these. Ever since I was a kid, I've had this kind of connection to a different plane of existence.
Yeah.
And I've always had these connections and stuff, and I just kind of ignored the signs. And then in my early adult years, I've kind of closed myself off. But
Yeah.
I've opened myself up more to it in these last few months,
Yeah.
And since then, I've been getting flooded with all these different uh, emotions and behaviors and feelings,
Yeah.
and that's why I definitely think this is him, and
Right.
he's been there
Yeah.
talking to me and helping me out, let me know like yeah I've always been here. I've with you along your journey. I'm proud of you,
Yeah.
and you know this is your life, not my life, because I've always tried to like live in like a shadow of him, of like what I think he would want, what he
Yeah.
wanted to do for his life, and I've since started going on my own path, and he's kind of like I think telling me like, hey, I'm proud of you. You're doing something for yourself now, and
Yeah.
you're you're successful in it.
Yeah.
So I think he's very proud of me. I think he's very happy for me, knowing that I'm living a great, the best life I can live. I wouldn't say great, but best life I can live.
Yeah.
Um, but and that he's watching over me. He's protecting me, from whatever
Right.
evil other things might be out there.
Yeah.
Um, and it's been giving me a lot of comfort and peace.
Yeah.
They say everybody has like a guardian angel or a spirit animal or whatever that protects them, right? And
Yeah.
these things can change over time from person to person or whatever. And I definitely think like he's the one watching over me right now. He's like my spiritual guide,
Yeah.
and it's very fitting of him to do it because I mean, uh, yeah, whether it's I think of heaven now not as like this, place you go and you're a good person and you die, but it's like a this plane of existence after you die. It's more vast than what we think, because we think of this as a human. You gotta think of this as
Right.
like you're able to split your spirit essentially into multiple pieces all over, and you could be in heaven, you could be with your friends, you could be with your family when you pass on. You could be with all of them all at the same time. It's
Yeah.
beyond our understanding, and that's what I believe in now.
Yeah.
And the fact that even things like he curses at me when I talk with him. He calls me
Yeah.
the B word, and using the F bombs all the time, and it's just the way he talked. It's the way he talked
Yeah.
with me, and that's how I know it's him. Because I'm like, nobody
Yeah.
else talks to me that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody else will talk to me like the way he talked to me. And
Yeah.
it's very funny. Like I can, even right now, while I'm talking to you guys, I can feel his presence in here. Maybe because I'm talking about him. you know,
Yeah.
and like I could sense laughter and happiness. So
Yeah.
I'm sensing right now. So again, call me strange. Maybe I'm making this up. I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
I can't really tell you guys anything other than this is just a feeling I'm getting, right? It's not me seeing
Right.
this. I'm not seeing it. I'm not touching it. I'm not hearing it necessarily. It's a feeling.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
Definitely.
But you got to be able to, like I said, open yourself up to this feeling. Think
Yeah.
about this, person or being, or even if they're alive still, think about them. I mean, I can't tell you how many times. I mean, with Aaron, even, he I was like, I call him up and he's like, "Oh, I was just thinking about you,"
Yeah.
or he's called me and I'm like, "Oh, dude, I was just thinking about you," you know.
Yeah.
It's almost like we have this feeling, and it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna give him a call."
Yeah. It's a hard one
Yeah,
to
so
explain.
it's definitely easier when the other person's open to letting you into their mind like that, but
Yeah.
you can do it when they're closed off too. You just have to concentrate on that and meditate or whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
But for everybody's able to tap into this, and the more everybody opens up to this, the easier it's going to be for us all to communicate with one another that way.
Oh yeah, that's it. I mean, we're so we're so cut off from each other these days because everybody, views a stranger as somebody they don't want to interact with. People don't want to sit next to somebody on the bus because they don't know them, things like that. Because we're all taught about stranger danger and all this kind of stuff as children that people now view other people that they don't talk to and interact with as sort of like aliens to a degree. It's like, who the hell are you? Go away from me. I don't want to be near you. And I feel like it's getting harder every day to find people that you can connect with, like, on that sense, because everybody's so closed off from one another. If they're not part of your circle, you either disregard or don't want anything to do with them most of the time because you don't know them.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
it's
Especially
going to be
with
very
technology.
hard.
Especially with technology today, I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody's so involved into their smartphone and, what's on Twitter? What's on Facebook? Or sorry, X now.
Yeah.
It's not Twitter anymore. What's on X? What's on
Yeah.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Is it even
I
Facebook
mean,
anymore still, or is it Meta now?
it's still Facebook Meta. I don't blooming know. But it's gotten so bad to a point where people literally they'll be sat at a dinner table with the family and they'll just be sat on the phone, not saying a word to each other.
Yeah. So yeah,
Like,
I don't remember the last time we've actually, even in my household, when we sat down at the dinner table as a family, we typically eat
yeah,
out in the living room now, watching TV or talking out there. You
yeah,
know, but yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Like no one sits at the dinner table anymore and has a meal.
yeah, and the
Um,
conversation and
right.
interacts. They're too busy staring at the phone and whatever they're busy
I
doing.
I'm definitely guilty of that. Uh,
Yeah,
if I'm with my parents in a meeting or something, I'm always watching YouTube videos.
yeah. I mean, it's gotten to a point where I've actually got like a pet peeve about it now.
Yeah.
Because I see it that often. It's like, if I've got a friend round, I won't be on my phone. If I have a friend round my house, I'm not on my phone. They're here to see me and spend time with me. I'm here to talk to them. But then I've had other friends I've gone to see, and they've just sat there on the phone most of the time and barely said a
Yeah.
word. It's like, why am I even here then? If we've
Right.
spoken about hanging out, why are you sat on your phone? Get off your flipping phone and talk to me. Like, that's not me being selfish. That's just me being like, we're
Yeah.
here to hang out. Why are you doing this?
All right. I'm that
That's
kind of
what I'm trying to,
guy.
you know?
I'm that kind of guy with friends in social settings too, where it's like I'm very introverted, right? I don't like being
Yeah,
out. I don't like going out,
right,
and when I do,
right.
uh, a lot of times in my head, I'm thinking I made a mistake. I shouldn't have come out,
Yeah,
you know. And then I don't want to be the one that's selfish and be like, "Hey, I'm going home," to my friends
yeah,
either. Um, or there'll be times even with when I'm hanging out with friends and I'm just like I don't want to be bothered. I want to sit here and play a video game or be by myself. Like I
yeah,
don't play a lot of online games. I play a lot of single player stuff because it's solo. It's solitary. I'm a very solitary type person.
yeah.
Um, and a lot of times when people try to have interactions or conversations with me, I just don't care. And I don't want to be that way. To be like tell the person, hey, I don't care about what you're talking about. But at the same
Yeah,
time, I just it's the truth is I don't care, and that I care about the person, but I don't care about their conversation. I just want to be left alone,
right.
and
Yeah,
I don't want to be that selfish person though and tell them that,
right.
or to be like rude and not listen to what they're saying.
Yeah,
Um, it's just I get distracted. I mean, it is. It's a bad trait of me to have that. I should want to
mm,
care about what they're telling me. Or a friend is telling me,
yeah,
but it's just a lot of times I don't. You
yeah.
know, I'm like, look, I got my opinions of whatever, and I want to just be alone. Like,
Right.
let me be alone. Um,
Yeah,
Eventually, after being alone for hours on end, I'll come out and I'll socialize for a little bit, and then when I have my
right.
fulfillment of socialization, I'm back away. I run away again.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I
So
have some friends I'm happy to converse with. I mean, I've had bad experiences with some friends where they don't respect my feelings and thoughts, and because I don't want to hang out one day, they've been a jerk to me, basically. But that's just I deal with anxiety a lot. So I'm not always up to meet up with people and talk to them. Sometimes I just want to be on my own. And, I have one friend who's a really good friend of mine called Michael, and, I've known him since we were children. I'm always happy to hang out with him because if I ever tell him I'm sorry, bro, I'm just not in the mood today, he completely understands. He's respectful about it. He's like, all right, bro, just let me know when you're ready to hang out some other time. Yeah, all right, bro, definitely. That's a positive interaction for me because it's not somebody going, "Oh, come on, man, what are you doing? Come out with me, come on," pestering me. That just pushes me away more. If someone who's
right,
pestering me and understand that today I can't do it today, my
right,
anxiety is too high. I need a
and
moment to just be by myself,
you know,
and I'd rather find a better day where
so
I'm in the mood.
I know we're getting off topic a little bit, but I'm gonna share one
Yeah,
more
yeah,
thing real quick with this. Just kind of go over this. So I challenge people to do this experiment as well, right? I
mm,
challenge anyone listening to try this experiment out, right? Especially if you're feeling the same way we're feeling about this kind of stuff, right?
yeah,
So, going back about 10 years now, maybe a little soon, maybe 9 years ago. Anyways, um, what I did was I had all these different friends on Facebook, right? I had hundreds of friends on Facebook. I had hundreds of people that tried to talk with me and blah, 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 right? But
mm,
I started realizing, especially within my inner circle, I was the friend that would contact somebody first, right?
right,
Maybe you're that person. If you are, I challenge you to do this experiment, right? It's a 30-day and then a 1 year experiment. All right, so it takes some time. It's 30 days. Don't send a message out to anybody unless it's like you have to get something done, like work or you know
yeah,
whatever, right? You need something from that person, right? Don't send a message though. Don't be like, hey, let's go hang out. Let's go do this. 30 days, right? I challenge you to do that.
right,
Somebody is going to message you within those 30 days. Somebody or some people, right, are going to message you
yeah,
within those 30 days. And I'm talking about like messages as if like, hey, let's go hang out. Hey, how are you doing? You know,
yeah,
those people, right? Keep them, right? Keep those people and remember these people, right? Stay in contact with them for the rest of the year after those 30 days, right? You can contact them first again. You can do whatever. Those are your inner circle friends. I'm telling you that
right,
right now. Those are going to
yeah,
be your inner circle friends. Your ones that This is like an inner circle, outer circle friendship group, right?
yeah,
So these are your inner circle friends. These are the ones who really care about you. They want your best, anything, right? I
right,
did this experiment, and you were one of the people, Aaron, that actually contacted me within those first 30 days. So I'm
yeah,
just showing you this right here, right? Aaron
yeah,
right
yeah,
here, he was one of these people, right, that contacted me. I was
yeah,
like, this is a true friend. This is my inner circle, right?
right.
I did this experiment for another year, right? I kept it going. Over this year, right, 6 more people contacted me within that year first, before without me having to contact them, right? And they contact me
Yeah,
decently regular, not all the time, but maybe once or twice a month. That's my outer
yeah,
circle friends. Everyone else that I had on my friends list on Facebook or my phone or anything else, I deleted them. Gone. Goodbye.
yeah.
Deleted them. Got rid of them. I was like, I don't care for any of you because you don't care for me. You didn't care to
Right.
check up on me in an
Exactly.
entire year.
Yeah,
You're not a friend. That is not a
that's
friend
it.
to you. They don't care about you. Get rid of them. They're toxic in your life. You don't need it.
Yeah,
And I
because
promise you, after that year, and you have your inner circle and you have your outer circle of friends there, your life is going to significantly improve. I promise you that. I'm not saying you
yeah,
can't make new friends. Go out there and make new friends. But these are the people that have always been there for you in your inner circle. These are the people that are out there for you, in a blue moon. You can go out and hang out, have a
mm,
dinner with them, hang out, go to a
yeah,
bar. That's your outer circle, but they're going to be there still in your
yeah,
life for probably maybe the rest of your life, maybe the next 10, 15 years. That's what the outer circle would be. Those inner circle friends, those are your friends for life. They're going to be there for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Thick and thin,
Because
because you could go years without even talking to them, and you'll be able to pick up with them like nothing changed. And
yeah,
and those are the people that you want to keep in your life completely.
yeah.
And I
Let me.
challenge people to do that because, I promise you, your life's going to significantly improve, and that's what I had to do. And I've had another friend that actually just did this experiment, just completed it, and he came back and he was like, "Hey, thank you for letting me know about this and doing this experiment. I'm not coining this experiment. I don't think I came up with this idea.
Yeah,
I thought of this on my own, and I came up and I just started doing it. Right now, I'm sure this is out
right.
there somewhere on the interwebs. You know,
Yeah.
to do this kind of same thing. If not, then don't steal my idea. Don't you dare copyright it. I came up with it first. But no,
Yeah.
I challenge people to go do this. It's going to help out with your mental health. It's going to help out with your well-being. And
Yeah.
yeah, I want people to improve and feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
And
Because
I could say without that. Sorry, go ahead.
no, it's all good. Yeah, because like life is busy. People are busy. People have jobs and all
Right.
this stuff to deal with, and
Relationships.
it's very easy to sometimes get lost in it, and you don't talk as much as you'd like to. There's been times where I haven't messaged Josh for like 2 weeks or a month because I've been very busy, focusing on my YouTube and all that. And I haven't been as social, but I will always come back
Right.
regardless.
I mean, what happens
Because
though normally in those 2 weeks or that month?
one of us messages the other.
There you go.
In the end, yeah. But like, I've got so many people that I've been friends with for years on Xbox, and they never say a word to me.
Right.
Never hear from them, and I removed them. And eventually, I bumped into one of them on another game, like a year later, and they were like, how can you remove me?" It's like, you never spoke to me anymore.
Yeah. And an
Like,
example of these friends that you can make after this too. Dawson was in the chat last week.
hmm,
Dawson, I met him when I was in Korea, literally a little over a year ago. I met him, right? He's in my inner circle now. There's
yeah,
not 1 month where it doesn't go by that him and I will end up calling each other, or talking to each other.
yeah,
So you can make new friends and include them into your inner circle,
yeah,
right? Your inner circle friends could also get moved to your outer circle. I highly doubt these people, though, that are in your inner circle are going to move beyond the outer circle, though.
right, yeah,
They're either
very
going to
rare.
stay there or they're going to come back into your inner circle, right?
Yeah,
But your outer circles, you could lose contact with them. They might just poof disappear from your life.
yeah,
Um, but the ones that were inner circle after this experiment's over with, they're always going to be either inner or outer. They're not going to, more than likely, they're not going to fleet from your life. If they do, it's a very
yeah,
rare circumstance. Usually something came up from the past or something happened.
yeah. That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
life is a roller coaster and it has many bumps and turns and things, distractions along the way. And people can sometimes lose sight because they're so focused and lost in whatever it is they're doing. But generally, those people actually genuinely care. Like, if they message and whatnot and you're busy and whatnot, they'll be like, right, let's hang out another time then.
Yeah.
They'll set something up. They'll want to interact with you. They'll be like, okay, I understand you're busy right now. You fancy hanging out in 2 weeks or something? Yeah, sure. Like, they'll
So,
set something aside
so out
if
of
they actually
curiosity,
care.
did you change anything in your room recently, or since I
Hmm.
was last there?
Uh, I mean, I've got an exercise bike, yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Did you like move any furniture or anything?
no,
No, that's
not
weird.
really, no.
Okay, because I don't know. There's just something different. Like while we were talking earlier, when you were talking about your experience and everything, I was just trying to connect with you and trying it out still, and I just felt like
Yeah.
something was different. Something was off with the room. Something
No,
that wasn't normal from when I was there.
yeah, I mean, I've got an exercise bike.
Okay.
Well, I've not been using it enough,
Yeah.
really,
So
honestly.
again, it's not a perfect skill. I was wrong.
Hmm.
So maybe
I
yeah,
mean,
you got something new in there, but I mean, it's not what I was feeling.
Yeah, I'm gonna be getting a new mattress in a few days though.
That's it. No, I'm joking.
But
No,
no,
but
I'm
it's
not
not a
gonna.
perfect skill, right? And you gotta
Yeah,
acknowledge that sometimes you're wrong on it. Even psychics and stuff. They'll admit when they're wrong. A good one will.
yeah.
They'll admit,
I mean,
like, or they'll even tell you sometimes, like, "Hey, I'm not sensing anything off you. Sorry for the
yeah.
time. I'm not gonna charge you."
I mean,
You know.
there's been times as well in law enforcement where people have relied on psychics, and psychics have actually been able to predict where bodies are,
Yes. Yep. They
and
have.
it's crazy because if these people can be like out of state, different places, and they will somehow be able to come to a conclusion where they are. It's it's wild because as somebody who can't do that, how they must have known. Somebody had to tell them something. That's your automatic de facto response and defense to it, isn't it? Like they must know. They must be involved somehow. But no, like, it's weird. Some people just have this inherent ability to be able to do so. They may not be able to get it 100% to the T, but they'll be able to get the area
Right.
somehow. And how else would you explain that? By possibly being able to sense some form of energy or something different.
They're the ones who did it.
Yeah, it is crazy.
But no, with the dream state too. I mean, like sometimes you tap into the living even, and you're able
Yeah,
to like, cause sometimes you're dreaming of somebody, and then someone could sense that as well. Like, okay, well, you get this feeling like someone's dreaming of you or thinking of you. You know,
yeah,
um, there's stories out there of like someone was sleeping and dreaming of somebody, and then somebody across
well,
the
that's your
country or
story.
across the world,
Yeah,
said that they saw this person in front of them. They're still
yeah,
alive, like it's their astral projection. They're seeing them as if they're there in the
Hmm.
room with them.
Yeah,
You know, um, they said they felt the presence of someone there that was familiar, and then they saw the person, and then they're like, "Oh my God, they're here! Like, what are you doing
Hmm.
here?" You know, but the other person is just
yeah,
sleeping halfway across the
yeah,
world, or in another or across the country or whatever.
yeah.
So they're very few of them stories, but they're out there. You can read them.
Oh,
Again, I'm
definitely.
not gonna put anything up here for it, but go do your own research. Don't just take my word on it.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
but
that's something
it's
we encourage people to always do. Don't just take our words for it. Research it yourselves
right.
because,
Most of the time, we're just talking out our rear here and just talking about whatever.
yeah,
But there are times when we do have our evidence and we'll show it, and
yeah,
a lot of times we're just sharing our own personal experience. You
right,
know, but I do a lot of research into these things, and I look up different articles, and I'm not always gonna post these articles because I don't feel like it. Go
yeah,
do your own homework on this.
yeah.
Um, if you're interested in it, or join our Discord and
Have a conversation.
have a conversation with us about it.
Yeah,
We can share our sources together. There is a believe yeah articles. Yep, there's a topic right there for articles. It's
yeah,
empty because no
uh,
one's in our Discord. So and when people
yeah.
start coming in there, I'll start posting down articles, and you
I've
can
got
you can
a
look up the topics with us.
I've got a really bizarre story about a set of twins. I'd actually have an article for it, but there was a set of twins that were separated at birth. They did not know each other. Funnily enough, they had children with the same name. They had a wife with the same name, and they were in completely different countries. And they learned about each other like years down the line when they were adults.
That's awesome.
Like that is wild. Like it,
Like, I'm not
it,
denying this can't happen, but that's odd. That's crazy.
yeah, and it, like I said, what else could it be but some kind of strange, sixth sense to a degree? Like they're still connected somehow, psychically or otherwise. To have married a wife with the same name, have children with the same names, and be completely separated, no contact with each other. like how that happens is just how. There's no way to explain it. There's no rational way to explain it. It happened though.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Our minds work in strange ways, and we don't completely fully understand the capabilities of what our minds can do. But if we could tap into this sixth sense, and I mean properly tap into it, just imagine what we could be capable of.
Right, right. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you know, there is so much research on the meanings of your dreams, right?
Yeah.
The feelings, the meanings behind dreams. All you gotta do is go on Google, look up, emotions and dreams, feelings and dreams, dream meanings, right? And there's
Yeah.
so much study and research done on this.
Right.
It's astronomical how much research is done on this, because it's
Yeah.
real. This is real, all right? Like,
Yeah.
don't it's not conspiracy like we talk a lot about on the show here, but
Yeah.
it's this is real stuff, real scientific documentation of this type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's tangible. You can research it yourself. Um, it's a whole field of study.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
you know,
people have even had dreams of the future and things have happened, which I think we will
right?
eventually get into on this podcast
About
today.
like deja vu,
Deja
what
vu
that
and
is.
things like that.
So
Yeah.
there's a couple different speculations as to what deja vu is, and we'll talk about that here on the next segment when we come back.
Yeah.
We'll be back here at top of the hour.
Yep. Sounds good. See you all soon.
Again, if you guys haven't, go to our Discord, join the Discord, go to YouTube, subscribe, follow on Twitch.
Yep.
Alrighty. Back a little bit early. So,
Right.
we won't really talk about anything pertaining to the show too much for another 2 more minutes or so. We'll just kind of ramble on. So,
Yeah. So rumble, 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 rumble.
YouTube,
Rumble, rumble.
Twitch, Discord, join them. We need more people. Share these. Let people know. Let your friends know. Let your family know. We'd love to have you guys all come on to our show and watch and enjoy and
Have a conversation.
yep, all that stuff. So, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a dislike. Let us know in the comments why you hate us. Or why you love us.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm incredibly handsome, but please tell me more.
Yeah, right. Absolutely stunning.
Yes. Marvelous. Fabulous.
Got the beautiful mane.
Yeah.
But no, for real,
Uh,
come join us on our community here. All right.
Yeah, we
We
would
got
really
what? Three of you
appreciate
guys
it.
watching. It says 3 viewers. We got a whole bunch of you guys in the chat. Come on, make an account. Come join us. Talk with us. Many of y'all might be
Yeah,
bots. Who knows? Either way, um, have a conversation. Don't be afraid to talk in the chat. It's an open chat. Enjoy it.
yeah,
Discord. That's where all the stuff happens is on Discord. So if you want to come talk with us, join Discord.
definitely.
Yeah, look at that. It says welcome to the chat room on my screen. Someone joined.
Hey,
So yeah, give us a follow, give us a like. All right, it's top of the hour, so we are going to continue the Phenomenal podcast, The Human Sixth Sense. I'm Josh
indeed.
with co-host Aaron. So
Hello
before
there.
the break, we talked about going over deja vu and you know
Possible
other
glimpses into the future through dreams.
right. I haven't had any glimpses into the future of dreams, but I've had a ton of deja vu. And there's multiple theories as to what deja vu is.
Whereas I've had lots of dreams that have actually happened. I've dreamt about things several days or weeks before, and things have actually come to pass. Which is, I don't know how you explain that. I'm not saying I'm psychic, I can see to the future, because I can't. But yet, I've had dreams, and then these experiences have actually happened that I've dreamt about, and I'm just like, huh? I know I've dreamt about this
So,
earlier,
my most
you know?
recent deja vu I've had, right? Maybe this is future dreams. I don't know, right?
Mm,
But my most recent one was oh god, a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
mm,
Um, it was on one of my days off. I remember, in my dream, I woke up. I was sleeping in my dream, which was weird in itself. Inception. Um, but I woke up in my dream, normal day and everything. Um, I was like, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go to the vape store. I'm gonna go down to the bar, hang out with my friends, right? So I did all that stuff in my dream. I was at the bar. I was having a good time with my friends, drinking and everything, and I decided to drive home. All right, I decided to
right.
drive home, and I ended up getting into a wreck, and I died. And right before I died in my dream, I woke up. Right.
Mm,
So that day, when I woke up from that dream, right, it was like early in the morning still, like probably like well early for me. Again, I work nights, so early for me is like anything before noon,
yeah.
right? So I woke up at like I think it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock ish in the morning. So that's early for me to wake up because as soon as I go to bed around 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Uh, and heart's racing, and I'm just like, what was that? It was like I lived that day already. Well, I went back to bed, woke up at my normal time. I
Mm,
don't remember any dream in between there for that little part of it, right? And
yeah.
by the time I woke up the second time, I forgot all about the dream prior, right? It didn't come to me again till like later as it was all happening,
Yeah.
right? So I went to the vape store. I got myself a vape, right? I came home. I got my friend contacted me, said, "Hey, you want to go to the bar tonight?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And it
Mm,
wasn't until I was driving to the bar that all this started coming together again. Like I lived through this. I already did
right.
this. So I made that conscious decision. No, sorry, it was right before I left for the bar. So when it happened, I made this conscious decision in my head, like I'm gonna have one drink tonight at the very beginning, and after that, I'm drinking nothing but sodas and energy drinks for the rest of the night, because I'm
Yeah.
not gonna drive home drunk. That's not gonna be an option for me. Like, why would
Yeah.
I? No, not doing that. All
Hmm.
right, shouldn't do that anyways. But not saying I have or haven't. But what I will say is, I went to the bar. I had my one drink, drank sodas and energy drinks the rest of the night. Had a great time. Went to go home, uh, and my buddy was heavily intoxicated, driving home as well, and he's swerving all over. Almost hit a cop. Uh, Cop didn't do anything. But I followed them pretty much all the way to my house, and I got home safe. Went to bed that night.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a vision of the future or a possibility of what could have happened.
Right.
Right? And I think my view on deja vu is some people say it's you experiencing the future or seeing the future. I think of it as I think this is it, there's a multiverse, and I believe in that, which that could be another whole topic on itself. But
Yeah.
I think there's a multiverse, and what you're seeing is an alternate version of yourself doing that decision and something happening.
Right. Almost
Right.
like a warning.
Right.
Like a premonition, I guess the
Right.
term would be.
All right. All right. So I made conscious decisions not to do exactly what played out in that.
Right. Yeah.
And things turned out great for me, and I had one of the better nights that I've had in a long time.
Yeah.
So
It's like a fan destination type vibe, you know?
right, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the most recent one I've had. I've had other ones
Yeah.
where I've actually done everything that I've done in my deja vu, and it's just very strange, very odd. And typically when I have them, it's like you said, it's almost like a warning in a way, because every single time
Yeah.
I have it, it's usually something bad that happens
Right.
in that dream.
Yeah.
And then when I actually do it, it's honestly it's either the same or it's worse than what happened in the dream. Like for as far as something bad happening, if I just follow through with it all.
Yeah.
But throughout my later adult years here, that I've had, every time I've had deja vu, I've purposely tried to do something different to avoid whatever bad thing is going to come my way, and I purposely go out of my way, or just don't do anything at all. If I was like, there's no way I can avoid it for that day, I just don't do anything.
Yeah.
I
mean,
that way it can't happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like days later even that it happens. When I first get that sign or that glimpse, like, okay, this is it. This is what I just experienced in deja vu. And I'm having it then. That's when I will like change my path. But
yeah.
I mean, like you said, maybe it's seeing into the future. It could be. It could just be alternate dimensions that you're seeing. It could, who knows what this really is? But not everybody, but the large majority of people have experienced it at least one time in their life.
Yeah. I mean, I've had dreams about people I've met months later down the line, or even years down the line. I've had dreams about games that I've been playing, and then I'll be in the middle of playing my game, like, a game's come out, and I'm playing it for the first time. I'm like, I dreamt about this. The hell? Like, huh? Like, I remember doing specifically this. I've done this. It's weird. I don't know how to really explain it. But you're just like, hang on, I know I definitely dreamt about that. I mean, funnily enough, this is going to sound funny to you, Josh. But I actually had a dream about 8 months ago about doing podcasts and things. And I told you a little bit about this. Is I made a thumbnail for a video for the podcast. That's what I'm never going to do a thumbnail. It's not really my kind of content I usually do. Not thumbnail, podcast. That's not something I usually do. I don't do that kind of stuff. That's never going to happen. And then look at us now. We're doing the podcast, and I made that thumbnail. And I said that to Josh while I was in the middle of making the thumbnail on the Oceans one. I was like, I made this already. I did this before, a few weeks ago in my dream.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that too, yep.
And I was just like, what? Like...
Yeah, you paused for a minute, like, you were just quiet, and I'm like, what's up, man? And then you're like, I've made this thumbnail. I've already done this. I was like,
yeah.
You already made a thumbnail for the show? And you're like, no, like, I've done it in the past. Like, I've done this already. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when Mum was watching a TV show, and I literally explained to her what happened in the episode. Mm-hmm. And she was like, how do you know all that? I dreamt about it. She was like, but it's just gone up to... You've seen this before? I was like, no, it can't. It's been uploaded today. The TV show that you're watching, the episode's just come out today, so how can I have seen this before? This is the first time it's been aired.
Yeah.
And
there's some people who have mastered
What?
this too, which
Yeah,
they can dream every single night and have deja vu. Like they can plan out their whole day.
right.
It's incredible.
I mean, there's plenty of people that have written books and things on events that have happened in the future, and while not all of them have been 100% correct, a lot of these people have actually had dreams of future events that have happened in the world and predicted them, and they have them in books from like 40, 50 years ago.
Right. It's incredible.
Right.
I mean, I've
And
never had deja vu that wasn't more than like a week, within the week. Like if I have that event will happen sometime in that next week, the next 7 days.
For me, it tends to be
Um,
months or several weeks.
mm,
But it doesn't happen all the time. It's not like I'm always doing this. To me, it's like
right.
maybe a few times a year it'll happen, or once every 2 years, and I'll just have this moment. And then something will happen, and I'm just like, I've done this. This has happened before. Like, how did I predict that? Because...
Right.
And it made me start to want to write a dream journal. And I still haven't done that, but I might start doing it, because I want to correlate and be like, right, so I dreamt about this, and when I have that deja vu moment, I'm gonna go grab my book and I'm gonna go, that I dreamt of, because I want to start documenting this kind of thing for myself, and just seeing, how often it happens. Try and get some data on it from my own personal experiences, because it's a crazy, bizarre concept that the fact that I dreamt about this or I've done this before and then it's happened and I'm just like, I know I've done that before. I've dreamt that before. And like I said, I can't willingly do this. It's not something I've sat there and said, I'm going to predict the future today and just gone to sleep and be like, oh yeah, I know what's going to happen. Nothing like that. It's just more so like, just months down the line or weeks down the line later, I'm just like, hang on, I dreamt about this. The frick? And I don't know how else to explain it other than I did.
That's very strange.
It's just I can't comprehend it in how I'm doing it or what's causing it and whatnot. I mean, supposedly I'm part gypsy. They say gypsies have a lot of from my, I think it's my grandma's side, I think, or something. I'm part gypsy. And they say that gypsies sometimes have people that can fortune tell or things like that. Well, I can't consciously do this or, sit there and plan to do it. It just sort of happens subconsciously and then turns out to happen. I'm just like, frick. Because how else do you explain it? And then people just say, oh, it's deja vu. It's like, I get the term deja vu, but how am I doing this? Like how?
Right.
Because I don't understand it myself. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I've had these experiences myself, and I don't understand any of it. Like it's I have no control over this at all.
Right.
So I just I'm trying to try and figure out myself. I really do not know.
Yeah. There's no way to rationalize it or you come to a conclusion, is there? So it just leaves you pausing, trying to wrap your head around how you're doing it. You just can't come up with an answer. I mean, I'll tell you something weird. This isn't necessarily a deja vu moment, but, I don't like reading. I'm not really somebody who likes to sit there and read a book. I find reading books, personally, very boring. It doesn't interest me. The only time I've ever been able to sit there and read for a book is during class because I can't be bothered to do the lesson, when I was in school and whatnot. But I had a dream, and for some reason I woke up with this really overwhelming feeling to start writing a book. And I find that very bizarre. I don't like reading. I've no interest in books, but yet I woke up, had this dream, and I was like, I'm going to write a book. And I literally just got up out of bed, sat down on my computer, and immediately started writing a book. And I don't know why.
Yeah, that's very strange. I mean, I've wanted to write books before. And I've written. I think the most I've ever written towards a book was like 100 and somewhat pages. I don't remember how many off the top of my head. But I've deleted it. I've gotten rid of it, and I just thought because I'd reread it like. I'm very I'm my biggest critic. I really am.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have that same issue, and we're all our biggest critic, you know.
Yeah.
And I read that book like the millionth time that I've written, and I'm like, this is stupid. No one's gonna like this, and then I delete it. And realistically, I probably should just stick with it and try and publish it because I'm sure somebody's gonna want it. Somebody somewhere, you know. I'm not saying it's gonna be a New York bestseller, but I mean it's you know.
Yeah.
But well, you know, at least I can get some of my thoughts out there or some of my science fiction. I love science fiction. I am a huge fan of it. And a lot of my books I've written or attempted to write have been science fiction. But a lot of times I'll get into it and I'm like, man, this is too Star Trek like. This is too Star Wars like. This is too, you know, whatever, Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, I feel like I'm just copying somebody else. And realistically, am I to a degree? A little bit, but at the same time, a lot of it's my own personal just thoughts, you know.
Well, then again, when you really think about it, though, when it comes to writing things, at the end of the day, you may have a similar idea to another work of fiction, non-fiction and whatnot, because we all, like, even the greatest books today have some form of basis behind them. Like, people have, you know, Lovecraftian works are based on Lovecraftian kind of stuff. Like, it's taken from a concept of somebody else and writing their own spin on it. We all use information we've already seen and we transfer it into our books to a degree. We're not sitting there trying to copy them and write them down. It's more so, you know, there will be certain aspects which will merge with something that's already been done before. Because your brain can only work off information it already knows, if that makes sense.
Right.
So you're always going to have somebody that's going to go, I've seen something similar in Lord of the Rings, or I've seen something similar in Aliens, or something like that. And it's not necessarily that you're copying, it's just people get information for things, and it's sort of like inspiration in a way. It's hard to explain. Like, you know, I started writing a zombie apocalypse book, you know? Now, is there probably going to be some references to other... possibly zombie stuff? Of course there is. It's the zombies, you know. Zombies kind of has a formula to it.
I'm sorry,
but I'm not sitting there.
ADHD just kicked off, and I'm back on focus. But we are way off topic here.
Yeah, yeah, we are actually.
Sorry, my mind wandered along with yours.
Yeah,
but you know what?
Well,
screw it. It's our podcast. We can do what we want. But
but yeah, it's gonna always have something that's similar to something else, and you can sit there and go, "It sounds like I'm copying," but everything has some form of concept from another thing that people have written about.
All right. But yeah, I just the deja vu stuff though. Let's get back on topic with that. You know, it just
yeah, it was supposed to.
I mean, we were talking about that, and then we got into book writing.
Yeah.
But I haven't had anything like recent, like in the last like couple days or so. Actually, like since that last deja vu I talked about earlier, I haven't had any dreams that I remember.
Right.
I remember some of the emotions I felt when I wake up or go to bed, or but you know, I don't really, I haven't had any like anything memorable happen other than that.
Yeah.
One thing I do have though, every time I go to bed, it's so weird, and it doesn't matter where I am in the world either, right? Excuse me.
Yeah.
But when I was everywhere I've been stationed while I was in the army or just going to bed, I get this feeling like I have to have my back turned to the wall. I don't know why, but I do,
Right.
right? And I think this isn't anything like sixth sense wise. I think this is just paranoia in my mind. I'm
Yeah.
a firm believer that this is just paranoia in my mind, other than one experience. But I have to have my back turned to the wall when I sleep because I feel like there's something behind me.
Mm.
Every time I'm sleeping, I have this feeling like something is behind me at all times.
Right.
Um, and it gives me chills. I don't like it. And then by the time I turn around and I'm facing away from the wall, I can go to bed. But then when I wake up, my back is turned the other way again.
Yeah.
Because I sleep on my like my bed is up against one of my walls, and the side of the wall. If I was laying on the bed, I would be sleeping on my right side.
Yeah.
But I have to fall asleep on my right side. But then by the time I wake up, I'm laying on my left. And
Right.
that's my comfortable position on how I sleep. So my body turns while I sleep.
Yeah.
Um, but it's very strange because I feel very uneasy when I'm falling asleep like that. Uh,
Yeah.
and I have to like it's kind of weird. Like I have to fall asleep with like an eye open. It feels like
Right.
like something's in my room. I have to keep an eye out, and I just have this odd
Mm.
feeling of that. Um, and it normally when I'm in a new place, I could sleep peacefully, no issue with that for like the first like week or so, and then after a week, I start getting this paranoia,
Right.
and it's very strange. I had this when I was in Korea. I had this when I was in Colorado, North Carolina. It doesn't matter where. I've had it everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, and it didn't actually start happening either until I joined the army, which is very strange too.
Right.
It started when I was in basic training,
Yeah.
which is very strange. I don't know why it would have started there, but that's when I started getting these weird feelings. Um,
Mm.
and I haven't spoken to anybody about this. It's actually the first time I've talked about it openly, and I'm doing it
Yeah.
on the live stream, but that's fine. Um, maybe I should get checked out for that or talk to somebody about it, but I don't know. Like, is it paranoia? Is it something actually there, or what?
Almost as if you're being followed by something to a degree, and it takes a while to get to where you are,
Right. That's kind of how
and
it
then it comes
seems.
back.
There's only been one instance, and I think I've talked about it already on the live stream. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Where when I was in Colorado, and I was going to sleep, and I felt like something breathed on my ear. Like I felt the breath on my ear, and I heard it.
Right.
And I was like, "What in the world?" So I threw the blanket over my head because I was like, "Well, maybe it's just a draft." Whatever.
Yeah.
I tried to debunk things before I jumped to conclusions.
Yeah.
Um, and as I'm just about to drift off to sleep again, I heard my name, Josh, be whispered into my ear, and I felt the breath again.
Mm.
And as soon as I heard that, I jumped up because I freaked out, ran over to my light switch, turned on my light. And
Yeah.
the whole time, mind you, too, I also had this feeling like something was behind me again when this was all
Yeah.
happening, right? And then as soon as I flipped on the light switch and I looked back at my bed, there was nothing there, and I felt a sharp pain on my back. So I went into the common room, looked in the mirror, and I had 3 scrape marks across my back.
Scratch marks.
Scratch marks
Yes.
diagonally across my back, which
I.
some equivalent that to demons or the devil. And,
Yeah.
whether that's real or not, I was just like, nope, okay, I'm not doing this. I grabbed everything I needed, a pillow, a blanket, I grabbed all my stuff, and I went outside, and I slept in my truck for 3 nights.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had similar experiences with just random scratch marks on my back, and I've been in multiple relationships where I've been with people, and they're like, "What are those scratch marks down your back?" Is like, "What do you mean scratch marks down my back? Your scratch marks down your back is someone scratches." I'm like, "No, no one scratched me,"
Mm.
and that happens to me a lot, actually. Funnily enough,
Right.
where randomly have scratch
I
marks
mean,
down my back.
here's the thing too. Like, I'm alone in my room. Like, I had a roommate,
Yeah,
but they're in their own separate like area. Like, they have their own room and with a locked door to the common area that we both share. So both of our doors were
yeah,
locked. No one was in my room. All right, I was by
right,
myself. And
exactly.
the way those scratch marks were, I couldn't have done that to myself. I can't reach
No,
across my back like that and scratch down the way. Like, I can reach behind my left hand or my right hand right down the middle of my back, but this was diagonal
yeah,
from right down to the left side, lower left side of my back, top right to lower
yeah,
left. I can't make a straight scratch diagonal like those three scratch marks were. And
yeah.
I was bleeding as well, so
Yeah,
it was deep enough to draw blood.
yeah. I mean,
Not need
I've even
stitches,
been,
but
yeah, I've been accused of cheating because of stuff like that.
yeah.
You know,
So I
because
just it was very odd for me. First time that's ever happened.
yeah,
It's the only time it's ever happened too. I stayed 3 nights out in my truck. I slept in there for 2 more nights, and then I finally got moved to a different room. But it wasn't because of that reason. It was because I was a NCO and I had a private as a roommate.
right,
So we're not supposed to be living together, and they did that when I came back from Europe for my quote unquote deployment.
yeah,
They stuck us in the same room for some reason. Um,
mm,
but so I got moved down to an NCO room where I was by myself
yeah,
for at least a little while, and then I had a different. We got moved to a different room where I had a roommate that was another NCO.
yeah.
But
Again,
but yeah, yeah, that room was very odd, and what would continue on with the story, and this might tie a little bit into some paranormal. Um,
yeah,
so one of the ladies I worked with, civilian workers that I worked with in the army, she had a one of those electromagnetic reader things, EMFs, I think they're
yeah,
called, EMF readers.
hmm,
I took that and I went back up there, talked to that private, and I said, "Hey, do you mind if I come into your room and test out the room? You know, the common room, your room, and then
yeah,
my old room, because my old door was still unlocked to from the common area room. No one was living in
yeah,
there anymore." He's like, "Yeah, sure, sure." Checked out his room. Didn't really get any readings other than on the wall where electrical outlets and stuff are. And that's where I was
yeah,
getting readings. I go into the common room, got nothing again except for where electrical stuff was, except for in the corner by my room. Right, this is where I sensed this
mm,
thing all the time. It was the corner of my room where the common room and the corner of my room, like at that doorway. That's where it met.
yeah,
Massive reading. I had like God, I can't remember what it was. It was like they had like lights on there too. It was like 5 lights on it,
yeah,
and this was like an orange, right?
right,
And that's like the fourth light, meaning like there's a lot of electromagnetic activity in that one spot. And then I walked
yeah,
through the door, and as soon as I walked through the door, I went to 5. And it was like
right,
it was a red light, and it was like beeping loudly. And then I moved away from that area, went further into the room, went down to nothing. Then I walked
right,
around the room, checked out the whole room, around the walls. I was getting like readings on the walls, but nothing else in the room. Went to that one corner again, and there was nothing. I was like, "What in the world?" So I checked the closet, went up to a 3, went back to that one spot again. There was a 5. I was like,
mm,
"Okay, so there's something that's like in this corner that
yeah,
either it's like, it wasn't on the wall either. It was just in that like corner of the room."
yeah,
Um, and that's where I kept feeling that presence. So I felt it even during the daytime, and I felt it while I was there doing that reading as well.
yeah,
And so I just whatever's in that room, I don't know, like, but
yeah,
I had this sense like I was being watched. I was hearing things in that room. Like I'd be playing a game or something, and I hear my name, just Josh, over the thing, like in my head, and I was like, "What is this?" Yeah.
yeah. Again, harkening back to when we're sleeping, things supposedly coming for you because they're looking for a host or something or another, something to try and get back to the physical realm to a degree. I feel like it's something to do with that. Because yeah, I had the same thing where I get scratch marks down my back, and I go into a very deep sleep. I'm a very deep sleeper. Um, and sometimes my mum literally has to shout me to wake me up. Like, I'm talking shout. Because, like, I'll sleep through it. Like, I can't wake up off my alarm on my phone. My phone alarm will not wake me. I have to literally get an alarm up on my PC, turn my TV volume up to, like, 40 or 50 just to get it to wake me up because of how deep of a sleep I get. And I feel like the reason why I go into such a deep sleep is because I do astral project quite often.
Hmm.
And because like I'm not there in my body to a degree, and I get a lot of scratch marks on my back with no explanation behind them. And like I said, I've had exes accuse me of cheating because of it, because I've just had scratch marks. But the thing is, every single time I've rationalised them, like there's nobody else could have scratched me because I didn't have them yesterday. Yet you stayed the night, so explain that one. If you stayed the night and I didn't have them yesterday, but now you've seen them now, clearly not.
Right.
You know, so I've always been able to rationalise to them at least, thankfully in that respect because, but it's like, yeah, I'll have something scratch my back, and again, yeah, sometimes bleeding, sometimes not, and there's no way I can physically do this to myself. Because in order to get that kind of scratch, I would have to reach over from the top of my shoulder, over my back, scratch. Then I would have to come down from the other side, and there's no way I can get that to perfectly line up. From the underside, bending my arm behind my back this time. To get that so perfect, there's no way. That's me doing it to myself.
Yeah.
But one thing that I do find strange is with the presence that I spoke of earlier, about the corner of my door, like, my dog's growled at and whatnot. I've not been able to sense anything in that corner for years now, ever since I actually rearranged where my bed was located. So when you came over, you see where my bed is now. It's up in the corner. My bed used to actually be against the other wall, because you notice on my wallpaper there's that big patch that's missing from how long the bed was there, because the bed was there for like 15 years in that one spot. It was up against a different wall. When I moved it, I've not sensed that presence in the corner anymore, but I still get the scratches,
Right.
which is weird. But my back is not up against a wall or anything like that. My back's usually facing the center of my room, which is, in the direction the corner is. So whether something's still there or not, I can't sense it anymore. But, the scratch marks do keep happening. And sometimes, I go downstairs without a shirt and she's like, what have you done to your back? I've done anything to my back.
Right. That's very strange.
Mm,
I don't have any explanation for it, so.
no. And it's weird because, like I said, I know when somebody enters my room. But I can pick up when somebody enters my room, whether they make sound or not. I just automatically know, but yeah, nothing's waking me up to this, it's scratching me.
Hmm.
I have a interesting dream I'll talk about when we get into the paranormal stuff. Because I do have a recurring dream of a woman with no face every few months.
Yeah.
And I'll get into that on October 31st. So if you're interested in hearing my story on that, because it's kind of weird and creepy, and there's a very weird coincidence with my name. If you notice in the chat, I'm Messenger of Death, and the funny thing is, this thing's a messenger from the underworld, supposedly, from what I've heard and been able to research. Which is funny. A bit of a weird coincidence. But yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It just scratches down my back.
Interesting.
Coming from nowhere. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I got a few experiences myself. Well, I'm gonna share those probably at noon on October 31st. Just go while telling some ghost stories.
Yeah.
Um, But most of this stuff that we're talking about from this Sixth Sense, a lot of it tends to be from dreams, is when you experience it.
Yeah,
Again, you can experience it while you're awake and conscious, but it's harder if you don't know how to.
yeah.
And again, it's a very natural. Uh, you have to let it naturally come. You can't.
Mm,
This isn't something that you can just force and be like, "Yeah, on command, I'm going to do this."
yeah.
Um,
I do have an interesting question. Was you ever like in a bad place mentally during the times where you've had these experiences?
what was that? Sorry.
Was you ever in a bad place mentally when you've had these experiences?
Uh, Sometimes.
Because you say you're more
Sometimes.
susceptible when you're in a bad headspace. You're more susceptible to these outside forces to a
I've
degree.
actually had more um, experiences with a sixth sense when I'm in a good headspace compared to a negative. I have had them in a
Right.
negative one, and I had negative experiences with that. But I've
Yeah.
had a lot more while I'm in a good headspace.
Yeah.
When I'm like literally since I got out of the army, I've done almost nothing but focus on my mental health.
Hmm.
And since focusing on my mental health, I've been in
Yeah.
a lot better of a headspace, and
Yeah.
because of that, I think that's why I've been experiencing more.
Mm.
So I don't think necessarily. I don't
I
think
was talking more in the
necessarily that.
negative experiences when in a negative space rather than. If you get what I mean. Like
Okay.
when you're in a good headspace, it's more of a positive vibe with it. But like when you're in like really negative headspace, it's more negative things tend to happen. Is what I was trying to get at.
Not all the time, at least for me, not all the time.
Okay.
There are times I've been in a negative headspace and I'll have a very positive, like mental or psychological connection with something, and it
Yeah.
will take me out of that negative space.
Mm.
Um, like there's been times where I've had like a lot of doubt into something, and it just got me down and not feeling that great. And then I've had like I don't know what to describe it as, but certain like good connections, like something very
Mm.
positive will come into mind or to like pop into my mind, and it gives me a chuckle, it makes me laugh, and it brings me out of that mood. It just cheers me up. And
Yeah.
it's not me just let me think of something good. It's just it
Yeah.
comes to me. It's like something is
Right.
projecting it to me, and it helps out. There are other times where it just there's been negative things that like I think evil or bad is drawn to the dark, darkness, bad things will come towards bad
Yeah.
emotion, whereas good things come to good emotion.
Yeah.
um, and it just you'll have a stronger pull, depending on how you are.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that if you're having good thoughts, positive vibe, and something bad comes along or bad emotion comes along into your thoughts or into your mind, that can't happen. I mean, it definitely can.
Yeah.
Um, just the same way as if you're having bad negative emotions and something good comes into your mind, or positive
Yeah.
happens. So it can go both ways. At least it has for me in the past.
Yeah. Fair
Um,
enough. Fair enough.
when I am in a good mood though, and I have something bad that happens, I try to focus on good things, and again, like you're not supposed to be able to. You shouldn't force these emotions, but at the same
No.
time, like you know, or I'll like stop what I'm doing and go do something I enjoy to get that out of my mind.
Yeah.
Because I don't try. I have tried to force emotions. I mean, we all have.
Mm.
And I've been working on myself to try and stop forcing my emotions. If I'm angry, I'm
Right.
angry. It is what it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'll try to like either not meditate, but like I guess it's meditation in a way. I'll start,
Mm.
trying to calm myself down in ways, but not through force. You know.
Yeah.
I let my mind do its process of thinking all these negative thoughts, and then eventually it'll get to the positive thoughts. The biggest thing is I don't act on those negative thoughts though.
Yeah, I know what you
Um,
mean. Yeah.
because when you're angry, you're thinking of just awful things. A lot of times, people are, oh,
Oh
I want to
yeah.
hurt this person or whatever to this person, and the thing is, don't act on them. Sit there, take your break, do your counting or your breathing or your meditation, whatever you got to do to get yourself through that process, because
Yeah.
anger typically only lasts about 10 minutes in a person,
Hmm.
right? On average. After
Yeah.
about 10 minutes of being angry, your body will physically exhaust itself.
Right.
And this is proven. This is science. Your body does physically drain itself when you're mad, and that's
Yeah.
why, like, if a toddler, for instance, right, they're throwing their temper tantrum, right, and a lot of times parents are like, oh no, don't do this and don't do that. No, let your kid have the temper tantrum. Let them have it. Let your kid have that temper tantrum. I promise you, in about 10 to 15 minutes, that kid's gonna be quiet. Why? Because they're physically
Yeah.
exhausted.
Yeah.
They're physically exhausted. They can no longer have that tantrum.
Yeah. It can only last so long, and eventually,
Right.
they can't
And
maintain
it's
it
the
anymore.
same way with adults. If you're angry, I bet you in about 10, 15 minutes from then, you're not going to be angry anymore and you're just going to be tired.
Yeah. The only way you're gonna
I'll give you an
maintain being
example.
angry is if you keep thinking about it
Yep.
over and over.
I'll give you a little example. Driving home the other day from work, I had this guy riding my butt, flashing his high beams at me the whole time, driving like an idiot.
Yeah.
I shouted some obscenities at him. I flipped him off. I slammed on my brakes a few times. Pretty mad, right? The whole way home,
Yeah.
right? And it wasn't the whole way home, actually. I noticed it about 5 minutes into my drive, and I'm about 15 minutes from work. So those 10 minutes,
Mm.
I'm angry. I'm as angry as can be, right? At this guy. I turned down
Yeah.
my road. I pull into my house. Second I got into the house, I was exhausted, tired. Wasn't even that mad anymore. I was like, that idiot. That's what I thought. What an idiot.
Yeah.
Dude's gonna get himself killed. That's what I thought. And I was
Yeah.
taking off my boots, and I went to bed, like almost instantly, because of how exhausted I was. Because I was angry for those 10 minutes. I was furious with this guy
Yeah.
behind me. I had road rage. He had road
Yeah.
rage. I had road rage as well, and I was just like, okay, you know. But it was kind of funny because, like, after I got to the house, I was just thinking, like, wow, why did I get so mad at that? I'm okay. I'm alive.
Mm.
And I was just mentally and physically exhausted.
Pardon me. Yeah.
So, understanding emotions is very pivotal, very key to unlocking these senses. And when you can get control of your emotions, I'm not saying don't be angry, but what I'm saying as far as control of them is you let them happen naturally, because emotions are supposed to be natural.
Yeah.
We're very emotional creatures as humans.
Definitely.
And honestly, I think that's one of our strongest
Oh yeah.
senses, our strongest connection. Like, we base everything,
On emotion.
on emotion.
Yeah.
Um, there's things where emotions shouldn't be involved in, such as political issues and things like that. So that should be more factual, but emotions do take a part into everything we do, even in politics to
Oh
a
yeah.
degree. They could be played into there. But it's just the end of everything. We're emotional creatures. We run everything off of emotion, and emotions
Yeah.
should happen naturally and fleet emotion, or naturally
Yeah.
come and fleet emotionally.
Yeah.
So what you need to do as the individual is to allow that ride to happen. You know,
Yeah.
um, don't do any, especially on the negative emotions, and they're not really negative. Being angry isn't a negative emotion, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's something that's just it's natural to be angry at some things, but
Yeah.
not acting and doing anything during certain things where you're not in a clear headspace. Like, if you're angry, I know a lot of times, especially myself too, and a lot of others, we don't have the best course of judgment when we're angry.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, if you're in a row with somebody and you're angry and you talk to them, I guarantee you, if you walk away for 10 minutes, calm down, and come back and speak to them when you're calm, your conversation's going to go 100% different because you're
Oh
able
yeah.
to logically think. When you're in that spur of the moment, you're angry, you'll say things to hurt each other.
Right.
Not because it's funny or anything like that. It's just you want to hurt them because you're annoyed.
Right. When
But if
I'm
you
when I'm
walk
angry,
away and come back and then
or if I'm
talk,
in an argument with
it's a lot
someone,
different.
what I tried to do is I'll take myself out of the equation. A lot of times I'll
Yeah,
storm
walk
off in a
away.
huff because I'm angry, and that's something I
Yeah,
shouldn't be doing. I should just be like, hey, I'm gonna step away, let them know that in a calm manner. Even if I'm angry, I
yeah,
should take a breath. Hey, I'm gonna walk away
yeah,
and clear my head real quick, and then we can re-engage the conversation when we're both, calm. And that's the way
yeah,
that it needs to go, but it doesn't always work out that way. And I've
yeah,
struggled with anger a lot in my past, and I still do to this day,
yeah.
um, as evident by the road rage I had. um,
Hmm.
but I look back at certain things and I'm like, man, why did I do that? Why did I behave
Yeah,
that way? You know,
that's
and I
cool.
try to apply it to my next lesson.
Yeah,
But don't
mm,
think of anger as a negative thing. It's not. It's a natural thing. It happens.
yeah,
It's just don't take rash decisions during your anger.
yeah.
Um, and vice
And if
versa. If you're feeling like like even good like what we consider good emotions like love. If you see someone, you're just smitten by that person, right? And you're like, oh, I love them. Just off the look.
yeah,
Don't take that action to be like, oh, I love you, right to that person's face. You gotta stop, think about it, and take
yeah,
that time and calm down and use your brain.
yeah.
Think.
And another thing you should always do is if someone is getting angry and they try to walk away, never try and block them. Let them walk. I know in the moment it could be like, but if they walk away, I might lose them or something like that. But the better alternative is to let them walk away, let them calm down, and try and
Mhm.
talk to them then, rather than keep it going. Because that's when people begin to get physical. If
Yeah,
somebody feels trapped, it's like an
I
animal. You
I
trap
apply
an
that
animal
to
in the
friends as
corner,
well.
yeah.
Cause like
If
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 they
you
just sorry, go ahead.
yeah, if you see an animal trapped in the corner, like a dog can be your best friend, but you trap it in the corner, like a dog might try and bite you because it doesn't want to be in that situation and it feels trapped and cornered. And it's the same with people. If
Yeah,
you keep somebody there, eventually they're going to get physical. Because if they can't seem to walk away and step away from the moment, and you just keep getting in their face, they're going to do something drastic because they need this space right now. They're trying to get away. You're just there, and you just keep going there, and they will eventually lash out at you. And that's when it just gets to an even bigger mess. So always let people walk away if they're in an angry mood. Just give them a moment to calm down. Try and talk to them. Don't be like, "Oh, you calm down yet." Try and speak to them. Hey, oh, sorry about before. Can we have a talk? Address it completely differently because when people are like calm down, it tends to make people more frustrated. Because
right.
at the moment they feel justified in their anger, and maybe they are, maybe they aren't in that moment. But you're just making the situation worse. Give them that moment to calm down and cool down. Then try and address in a different tone to talk to them.
Right, and I apply it to friends as well. Like I was about to say,
Yeah.
if they just want to walk away, I let them walk away. I don't pursue it. Because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, what am I gonna do? Right? Something I say is either gonna one make them even more mad,
Right.
or two push them away completely.
Yeah.
Right? I let them walk away, and if they decide to come back, they're gonna come back with a different behavior. You know,
Yeah.
and I attribute it. I'm like, okay, cool. You walked away. You came back. We were readdressing, right? And I
Yeah.
like that when I would like that if I was that person that walked away. I would just want that from my friends to let me walk away, and
Yeah.
I'll come back. If I decide to. If not, then that friendship's just not meant to be.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just something you gotta do, and so there's more. Okay, we're about to hit a break. All right, I'm gonna
Yeah.
get us back on topic after the break here. Um,
Yeah.
we'll kind of go over. I kind of want to go over some things that people might consider a hoax with these sixth sense as well.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but things that have happened, right? And that
Hmm.
there's videos of. I'm not gonna play no videos. I'm being very lazy with this today. If you guys want to look these things up, you can for yourselves. But I'm not gonna put it on
Yeah.
screen. But we'll go
Um,
over. We'll get back on topic and go over a little bit more about like the telekinesis stuff that people talk about having, or
oh yeah.
um, speaking to the dead, things like that, the
Yeah.
mediums and all
I
that.
I do have something interesting to talk about after the break as well. In a video I saw, well, I want to get into because it was quite interesting. In what happened is he did something which seems impossible, and he said that his master, who taught him how to do it, came to him in a dream, and he refused to be interviewed anymore or do any more things for this investigative journalist who was trying to see what they could do. So we'll get into that when we come back.
All right.
3 Houston, press to ATO.
Liftoff of mission 41B, the first flight of the orbit of Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control.
Alright, we had a little bit of technical issues there, but we are back.
Yeah.
So, with everything that we've talked about today, alright, if you guys are just tuning in, we are talking about the human sixth sense being like our emotions, our mental, psychological state, right? That is the human sixth sense. If you haven't already, join us on YouTube. We have all of our videos posted there. Go ahead and head over there. Links in our description. If also join us on Discord. We would love to have discussions with you guys. As of yet, no one has joined the Discord. Come on, guys. We have many viewers here. Join our Discord, alright? It's in the description both on our YouTube and on our Twitch, alright? That's where all the magic is happening, is on Discord. We are planning on getting on Spotify here soon as well. I am working on some little technical issues with Spotify, but as soon as I can figure that out, we will be on there as well.
Nice.
You definitely want to check out the YouTube, though, overall. I think it looks amazing now, thanks to Aaron's handiwork with the thumbnails.
Yeah.
So go check out that.
I put a lot of thought into them.
Yeah. Go check that out. Just want to kind of throw out a little bit of branding here as we get into the final hour of our topic today. Yeah. Let's get into it. Last hour of the Phenomenal podcast for today, October 3rd, on Tuesday. Our next episode will be on Wednesday the 11th of October. This month. So, and then after that will be October 17th, which is my birthday. We will be doing a show on that day as well.
Nice, nice.
Yep, special birthday podcast.
I have to remember to wish you happy birthday, and hope I don't forget.
Hitting the big 3-2.
I'm terrible at remembering people's birthdays.
Yeah. I'm hitting the big old 3-2. All right.
Yep.
But I'm already gonna throw out the topic for that one. Again, Aaron picks the next topic for the 11th. So on my birthday, we're gonna do AI. We're gonna talk about AI.
Oh yeah. That's gonna be a bombshell of a discussion.
Yeah, we're gonna get into the controversies and everything about it. This is probably gonna be our most. This is gonna be our most political podcast on a, on a controversy type podcast for paranormal activity and phenomenal activity, right?
Yeah.
That'll be probably the most political we'll ever get. Is gonna be on my birthday on the 17th, and we're gonna be talking about AI because it involves a lot with politics.
Yeah, we generally try to stay away from politics. We are not a politic podcast.
I'm just saying it's going to be mentioned. There will be some political things mentioned. Yeah,
unfortunately, we can't diversify AI from politics because it's going to have a massive impact on it.
Right. It's still going to be very unbiased. Very unbiased. We're not going to pick a side on this. We're just going to talk about it.
No. Also, bear in mind our governments are completely different in the UK and the US, so you can't say I'm alt-right or alt-left or anything like this and all that kind of stuff. That is completely unbiased.
I have my views. He has his views. Right? We all have our own views, and we're going to stay unbiased with it as much as we can. Yeah. We're just going to hit on news articles and topics. AI. And we'll have a collection of news article and topics for that. Anyways,
Yeah.
getting back into why we're here today, the human sixth sense.
Indeed. So we were going to talk about hoaxes and things to do with.
Hoaxes and things, yeah.
Uh,
So, telekinetics is one of the things. People think of the human sixth sense and
yeah.
we can move things with our mind like we're some Jedi. Using
Oh,
the
yeah.
Force, you know.
I mean,
Um,
I'm totally not touching this Lucasade bottle at some screen right now and taking a drink completely telekinetically. I'm totally doing this right now.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's not a hoax, but I'm just saying, like, I've yet to see anything substantial and real saying that people can do this.
I've never seen anybody do this.
Yeah. There's videos out there of people claiming to do this.
Yeah.
I
With
disagree.
strings or
I disagree. And I think the
movie
videos are
magic
hoaxes.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think this is real at all. I don't think we've ever had the capability to do this.
No. I mean, think about all those magicians out there who do all these magic tricks. I don't see them levitating anything without some kind of trick
Right.
behind it. You know, there's always some
Right.
string.
No,
or
on these other planes of
rubber.
existence of like the dead and ghosts, maybe I think they have it. Poltergeists, you know,
Oh yeah.
but
Well,
I don't think it's necessarily them moving it with their minds. I just think they're actually moving it.
yeah,
Um,
like possibly picking it up and lobbing it at you
Yeah.
or things of that
So-
nature.
With that being said, yeah, I think that's a hoax. I don't think we have that capability. But what I do say we have the capability of doing is reading each other's emotions and minds, at least to a degree, right? Again, when I was talking last week about when I was looking at my buddy the other day, and I was like, "Hey, you hungry? Let's go eat." You know, he wasn't showing any signs of hunger. His stomach wasn't rumbling or nothing like that. I don't know. I
Right.
had this feeling. Again, these are feelings, right? The sixth sense is a feeling, not something
Yeah.
that's like physical, like our other senses are, right?
Sensing the
And
energy.
and he was
kinda.
just like, "Get out of my head."
Yeah.
Like he like
Yeah.
I knew what he was thinking, you know.
Yeah.
So he was like, you know, get out of my head. Stop. Stop reading my mind here, you know.
Oh yeah.
And then I was like, pizza? And he's like, yeah, pizza sounds great. Let's get some pizza. Like, he's like, that's what I was thinking about getting anyways.
Yeah.
And I just find that funny that, you know, I was able to connect with him like that.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
again, this isn't it's just this connection, this feeling that we get, you know. It's not anything
Yeah.
physical.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a sense of like, oh, he's thinking about playing with puppies right now and stroking one of their heads and throwing a ball to them. Like, I'm reading his mind like that, and it's nothing like that kind of level. Like, I don't think that's
Right.
something we can possibly do. You know?
Again, and
Uh.
and just like with psychics, you know, like if there's nothing, like no feelings, no vibes towards them, you know, you don't connect with them in any kind of way. A lot of psychics would be like, "Hey, sorry, I'm not getting any kind of reading off you. There's
Yeah.
nothing I can do about it. You know, it comes natural. You know, and then they'll usually apologize and be like, "Hey, here, you know, I'm not gonna charge you because I can't sense anything off you. There's no
Yeah.
reading I can give you." And then mediums, you know, they supposedly talk with the dead. You know, and from what I heard from a lot of different mediums is they don't necessarily communicate with the dead, right? They can sometimes see them.
Yeah.
They get feelings as well, just as if we would with the living, right? A medium,
Yeah.
they do it with the dead. They get these feelings from them of like love or comfort or peace, and they let that person know, hey, your loved one's with you. They're feeling, you know, peace and love towards you, and they want you to know that everything's okay, because that's the feeling that they're getting from this person.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of scams and hoaxes out there as
There
well.
are.
You also have to be mindful of.
Do your
I mean,
research
hell,
before you go to one.
Yeah, because you know, I remember watching Jadoobie dubs. You know, the funny, and they were doing one on you know, people who can supposedly heal you by touching you and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, oh, I suffer from all this stuff, and he touched him. He was like, hallelujah, he's cured. Ah! Like, come on, bro. Like, You know, they're just sat there doing a dance and all this kind of stuff, you know, hopping around. Apparently they had a bad back, now they're fine. Yeah, no. I'm sorry, no.
Yeah. I mean, I do your research on them. I definitely think there are some out there that are real. They're authentic, right?
Mm,
Some of them will even give you a free reading on your first time, And a
yeah,
lot of these mediums especially more so than psychics, right? They
yeah,
won't do multiple meets within like a span of like 3 to 4 months, right?
yeah,
They'll just straight up tell you like, no, you already had your reading for, and I'm not doing another one on you because, it might be a completely different read this time, and I
yeah,
don't want you to get the wrong impression, that
right,
it might not be the same entity that comes this time, and because of that, you know, I'm not going to give you another reading, at least not right now. Um, and a lot of times these people go to these mediums or psychics and they want to speak to a certain person that passed on, right? Mediums, especially
yeah,
for the ones that passed on, they were like, oh, I want to speak to my husband or my wife or my child or whoever might have passed on, right? And they want to be able to
yeah,
speak to just that one person. Well, sometimes that person doesn't appear to this medium, right?
yeah,
Sometimes it's not. It's Uncle Bob, that comes about,
yeah.
and that's the reading you're gonna get. Like,
Yeah,
um, there's one I was watching. This one person does like a stream of it. Their medium. I think they're pretty legit. I really do. I think this one's legit.
yeah,
I'm not gonna give them any recognition on the show. I'll just kind of talk about what happened. Um,
yeah,
because I don't want someone bombarding this medium now. So I'm not gonna throw their name out there. If they want to, they're famous. So if you want to reach out to a medium, you can probably find them online just by typing in, psychic mediums and find one. But anyways, what happened was this lady, her son passed away, and she wanted to speak to her son. Right, so she contacted this medium, and the medium was like, "Okay, I'm getting this like tall, thin figure. This is who I'm
right,
seeing, and who's coming to me, and they're sitting back on a rocking chair, and they're calm and letting you know that everything's okay, and they're smoking something. I can't tell what they're smoking, and they're like, well, that sounds more like my brother. And they're like, well, look,
right,
this is who's coming to me right now. So I can't, and they're like, oh, my brother passed away from substance abuse, and they're like, well, they're smoking a cigarette right now in a rocking chair, just, smiling and laughing.
mm,
So that's who came to this lady, was not her son or her child, but her brother who passed away.
right,
So again, you can't force the medium to be like, yeah, this is who I want to speak to. Make this person appear. That's not how it works. It comes to them naturally, and that's why I've been saying this whole podcast is you can't force this sense. It comes natural,
right,
and when you allow it to come natural, you're gonna start recognizing it more often. You
yeah,
um, and everyone, not everyone can tap into becoming a medium. I
yeah,
think that's a trait that certain people are blessed with or cursed with, depending on how you look at it. But I think
yeah,
everyone has a psychic connection to read other emotions, right?
right,
Um, you know, do I think I have a connection to be a medium? Maybe to a degree. It's nothing I can control, though. I can't read other people off of other people
yeah,
like a medium can. I can only get glimpses of like either things that I've experienced, friends of mine, family of mine, is who come to me.
yeah,
But I think that happens with a lot of people. So again, I just if that's a medium trait or not, I have no idea. I'm not an expert in this field. Uh,
yeah.
but
I mean,
I think everybody has that psychic connection to one another, to where we can all connect intertwinedly while living to each other.
yeah. I mean, one of the things that makes it very hard to believe in these things is because you do get a lot of scam artists, like the paranormal. How many girls' videos are out there on YouTube? Thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. you know, and so many of them are staged, fake, tricks and whatnot, and then you get the real legitimate ones where you can't really discern the truth from fiction because there's so many fake ones out there that you can't ever just sit there and say that's real. And you'll notice a lot of these people that have these big audiences that claim to be psychics and mediums. They'll be in a room full of people. It's like somebody's coming to me and getting a Derek or Darren. It's like psychological hook. Because somebody may have somebody that has a name that begins with D, and they're like Derek or Darren. And so it's go, oh, Darren, my brother that passed away. And then they've got you.
Yeah.
Because
so
that's them fishing for a response. That's not a true psychic or a medium.
Right.
It's psychological fishing, and that's what a lot of these psychics and mediums will do. They'll psychologically fish to try and get something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you have a room of like 100 people in there, eventually someone's going to have somebody called Darren or something.
Do your research on them, right? Before you go out and just get a random medium or a random psychic, right? Because again, there are a lot of phonies out there. And a lot of these psychics and mediums will even tell you that too, like the real ones. They'll tell you, like, hey, there's fakes out there. You got to watch out for them.
Yeah.
So you got to really dig in and do your research on whoever you're trying to go to. And, you know, it's ultimately on you. You know, if you pick one and it's not what you expect, you got no one to blame but yourself. Right. So you can't go on, oh, they were a hoax and I got tricked. And well, you picked them.
Yeah.
It's not their fault that they scammed. That you fell for it. It's your fault.
So that's why whenever you see people walking around in public and like, you want me to read your fortune, and they'll do it and then they'll charge you after.
Yeah. A lot of times, you know, these fortune readers are fake too. Don't go to them. No one can read your fortune. And like a lot of psychics, still like the legit ones I've heard of and seen, they don't tell your fortune. Yeah, you can ask them about it, and they're going to give you probably a very vague response because it's hard to discern the future with that.
Right.
So they're going to give you a very vague response, and it's not going to be the response you want. You know?
Right.
They're like, I see a potential. You know, like they'll say, like, I can see a potential in you becoming rich and famous or whatever. But, you know, that the choices are going to be up to you on how you do that.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, I can't tell you more than that, but if you want something more direct in the here and now, I can tell you about what I'm sensing off of you right now. You know, that's what a lot of the psychics can do. I've been trying to develop this and learn more about it myself because I want to learn how to channel these psychic abilities, you know. I'm not saying I'm going to make a profession or a career out of doing this, but it's something I want to learn and get better at. So, I'm definitely not going to make a career out of doing that. That's not what I want to do in life, but at least for like friends or family, you know, if they want to have a psychic reading someday or something, I could do that for them, you know. Maybe one day. But I mainly want to do it, you know, for myself and just to, you know, experience the stuff for myself.
Yeah. I saw a very interesting video a long time ago, and it was a journalist trying to do a documentary on supposedly somebody being able to harness their like energies, so to speak. And I watched this guy live on video, had paper in front of his hands, and he literally just using his hands managed to set this piece of paper on fire. Now, this wasn't somebody trying to make a video. This is a journalist recording this guy saying he can do this. And he actually managed to get it to catch fire. The problem was, when they wanted to talk to him more, because apparently he was one of the last few left that could do this, because the tradition was no longer really taught, there were very few people that could do it, many masters didn't want to teach it to them. They were the one of the people they were able to find, luckily, who supposedly had this gift to be able to do it. Supposedly, they were able to channel their energies and actually get this paper to catch fire. The problem was when they wanted to follow up on it the next day, he came to them and said, "I can't do any more recording now. My master came to me in a dream and asked me not to share it with you, so I will not be recorded anymore doing this." And he refused to participate anymore. Now, that gave me a little bit of legitimacy to it because this is a journalist trying to capture this person doing it, and he's done it live in front of them. They got some random pieces of paper from a store, and this guy, moving his hands, managed to somehow catch fire with this piece of paper. Not somebody doctoring or editing footage or anything like that. So that's what gave it some validity to it. Apparently, we do have the ability to channel these extra energies we supposedly have.
Yeah, there's this guy that lives out in the God, where does he live? I don't know if it's Canada or Alaska, but up in like the Northern Circle type area. You know, he lives like remotely. You know, but he apparently is able to like create fire out of thin air. He just like meditates and heats his body temperature up, and then he creates fire in his hand.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he was God, I can't remember the show for it. There's a there was a show back in the day. They did stuff like, you know, covering stories like that. Just like unnatural stories type stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, this guy was able to do all that. And he was even able he like cut out a sheet of ice and sat inside the ice, like the freezing water, and he was able to make the water boil.
Right.
So it was again, was it fake? I don't know, but there was like these video crews went out there to videotape him for the show. This guy just lives by himself out in the middle of nowhere, and they heard about him, and he agreed to be on the show, and yeah, was showing all the stuff he could do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy who hasn't slept for years, and scientists can't figure out how. He hasn't slept for years, and somehow he's completely functional. He's able to move, walk, perform everyday tasks, no problem, and he doesn't sleep.
So I mean, you know, a lot of these like monks and stuff too, they're very connected spiritually, and you know, learn like I've been looking into research on them as well, like different types of monks around the world, and their spiritual journeys and guides, you know.
Yeah.
Not saying I'm trying to become a monk, I'm not, but to at least learn about the culture and learn about their paths, you know, and what they do.
Yeah.
It's interesting stuff to learn. I don't think you have to be as an extreme as a monk to tap into these abilities either. But it's definitely something, you know, for people to want to experience these senses, right, and these emotional senses and stuff. You know, what I think you have to do is just kind of confine yourself at first, right? Get in touch with yourself before you get in touch with others, right? Because I've also heard stories. I mean, this is a realm that's very confusing, but there's stories where people have hurt other people emotionally by trying to tap into their emotions.
Right.
But you know, so try and focus on yourself first. Get yourself centered before you start trying it on other people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm centered myself, but I think I'm more centered now than I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah.
So that's why I've been really trying to like focus on myself with this and learning how to do this on my own before I try and help others, or you know, try and use these abilities on anyone else, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of strange phenomenons out there. There's a guy who can basically withstand like 500 watts of electricity through his body without feeling it. Indian man. Supposedly he's like a human battery. You can withstand million-volt shocks and things like that.
Yeah.
And they actually wired a house's electrical system to him, and he was completely fine.
From what I've also read up on this topic is that a lot of these experiences will happen. Um, for as far as mediums go, it's either most of the people are either born into a family of mediums that become one, right? Like
Yeah,
their families have always had connections with the dead, and they're born into it, or they've had near-death experiences. And with
yeah,
those near-death experiences, they've channeled into it. As far as being psychics go, though, I mean, everyone and anyone has that ability. It's just
right.
learning how to harness that ability and to allow it to passively go through you.
Yeah,
Um, but maybe that's just why I don't know though, because like even as a child, I've had connections with the dead, but I don't think anyone in my family's ever been a medium before. But it got even
right.
more prevalent after I had my near-death experience.
Yeah,
Um, when I had that, that's when things got a lot more. Uh, it progressed more. Um,
yeah,
so I could definitely attest to that one. Um, but as far as being like psychic or anything like that, I've only just scraped the surface of this. And
yeah,
it was funny too because like I didn't know what it was until I started hearing on a talk show. I heard someone talking about it, and I was like, oh my god, that's something I'm experiencing.
yeah,
You know, and then I started looking more into it, and I was like, okay, maybe this is an actual thing here, and that's why I wanted to talk about this on this podcast as well, because
yeah,
it was just something that like I've experienced, so it's like I definitely see this as more real.
yeah. And that's it. Sometimes it comes down to whether you've had the experience to be able to say for sure, um, whether you believe or not, because sometimes people can be complete skeptics, and then
Yeah, and
they have an
I'm sure
experience.
people are gonna listen to this show, either now while listening or later on. They're gonna be
Yeah,
like, yeah, these guys are a hoax. It's not real.
yeah,
And
full of it.
I mean, you're within your right to believe that. I mean,
Yeah,
if you would have asked me 10 years ago, or shoot, even 2 years ago about this, I would have been like, yeah, you're a hoax.
yeah,
It
and
wasn't
that's
until I
it.
started tapping into this that I started discovering, like, okay, there's some truth behind this.
Yeah, because we're not going to sit there and get angry or upset that you don't believe us. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you have to experience things for yourself
Mm-hmm.
to know. I mean, we're not sitting here trying to get you to pay money to see us have this
Yeah.
supposed gift, you
You
know.
know what?
We're just talking about our experiences, you know.
Someone write it down. I'm not writing it down, but you know, I'm gonna say this right now that if I can ever actually develop skills in this, if any of my viewers ever want readings in the future when I'm able to develop this more, and I'll let you guys know, uh,
Yeah,
I'll give out free readings,
yeah,
completely free, just so I can prove it's not a hoax.
yeah,
Again, I'm not a medium by any means, so if you want connections with the dead, good luck. I am not your guy. But
yeah,
on your own emotional state and something about you guys, if I ever get more in tune with this, I'd be more than happy to give you guys a reading on that.
yeah,
I guess I just need to get better at it myself, though.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to really do or say in regards to you believe in us or not, because at the end of the day, you're fully entitled to your opinion. We're just sharing what happened to us. You could believe me or not, and what I've experienced, but
Right. This whole
sometimes that's what
podcast,
it
this
takes.
whole thing about the podcast here, it's about talking about the stuff, making talking about this normal, right?
Yeah,
And not just this topic, but every other topic we talked about. Bringing it out there in the light, making it open to talk about, not
yeah,
being ashamed to talk about something like this. And for you to decide for yourself whether you believe or not. If you don't and you think it's all a hoax, you're well within your right to believe that. Good for you.
Exactly.
If you believe it's true, good for you. You're well within your right to believe that. Same thing. So
Yeah.
you decide for yourself. No one's gonna convince you otherwise. Do your own homework and research on it. Don't take our word at face value. Again, a lot of times, like I said, we're just talking out our butt. Talking about whatever. But this topic, I believe, is very real. It's stuff I've experienced. It's not so much paranormal or it is a phenomenon, but it's not paranormal at all. It's not really. I mean, it kind of is a little bit, but it's not. It's not myth and legend. It's something that's been going on here in the now for thousands of years. There's always been psychics, or back in the day, they may have been called witches, even. But or it was considered witchcraft a while back. And people started talking about this type of stuff. If you went back into the 1500s and you were talking about a vision that you had while you were sleeping, they would say you're a witch and burn you at the stake, depending on who you were talking to.
Right.
So.
I mean, if you look at the Vatican and whatnot, they have tons of, texts we're not privy to, supposedly Necronomicons and all kinds of stuff that we can't see or read, that they believe actually has some form of merit to them. That's why we can't have access to them. They hide them in their archives. Now, do I believe in these books that could supposedly allow people to cast spells? No, I don't. But they certainly are scared of them. That's why they're keeping them from the public. So, whether they're right or not, I don't know. I mean, me and Josh have things we don't agree on. We have different opinions on certain things. Yep. Aliens on the moon, I believe they could be up there. Josh may have a completely different viewpoint to me, but
the fact as far as aliens on the moon, I don't believe so, but he does.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but again, we're not arguing about it. We're just sharing
having a
conversation about it.
Yeah. We're not trying to change anybody's minds or convince them. We're just having a discussion. That's what this whole thing's about.
Right. But, I think we're about ready to wrap this up. I know we got about 30 more minutes of the show here, so, if anyone's watching, God, no one's commenting at all tonight.
I know.
If anyone has any input into any of this, please, let's hear from the audience here,
Yeah,
we got 30 minutes and we're pretty much wrapped up, so...
if you have any experiences...
If not, you're just going to hear me ramble about, branding. Come join us on YouTube and Discord. Yeah, I know you guys love hearing me say this all the time, but, we need more. We need a bigger audience here.
Yeah.
So, I know in due time it will come. The more we post, the algorithms are going to be like, oh, these guys post every week. Let's start posting their videos on, having people watch them. But,
even if you have an experience that you're not sure you quite believe in, but you find it strange and you just want to talk to somebody about it, feel free. Have a conversation with us. We'll give our thoughts and feelings on it, We're not going to sit there and say, oh, you're completely lying, screw you, or anything like that. We'll actually just have a conversation with you. Because at the end of the day, everybody has different experiences and things they go through in life. They love to hear different people's points of views of things that have happened, or think they might have had happen. Because at the end of the day, the world's a big place with millions upon millions of possibilities out there of things that could happen or strange occurrences. Nobody has all the answers.
Again, if you guys don't know, it's my mother. She said you could tell my experience that I told you about. Okay, so I don't remember all the details. I just remember some of them. So again, this is when my friend passed away here. So if you guys don't know, he passed away in Afghanistan. He was in the army. So this is the same friend I was talking about earlier in the show. But yeah, so that same night after I got the news and everything, my mom was going to bed and she was just saying, like, please let me know it went fast. You didn't feel pain. She was really calling out to him and begging him to give her a sign that he's okay. That everything was fast and painless, nothing happened, right?
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I'm just down the hall sleeping. My dad was in the room sleeping too, I believe. And she went off to bed, and she said she was woken up by a really loud bang, like a boom, like a bomb went off in the room. You know,
Hmm.
um, and that's what she was awoken to, like as if she was right there next to a bomb going off. And to her, that was like a symbolization of like that's all he heard.
Hmm.
You know, before he passed was just the loud explosion, and that was it. No
Yeah.
pain. Um, so to her, that was the symbolism, and him telling her, "I'm okay. This is all I heard. It was
Yeah.
painless." Um, and that he's now in a better place. You know, like
Mhm.
he's you know he didn't feel anything. That the passing was fast. You know, like
Yeah.
split second. Um, I've never had that experience. I after she told me about that and that happened, I actually asked and pleaded and begged for a similar experience. You know, to let me know. You know, just kind of confirm the story. I've never had that. Um,
Yeah.
but you know, like I said, in recent, you know, maybe it's because I'm not ready for that. You know, or who knows what. You know, that they work on a
Yeah.
different plane of existence than what we do. Um, but again, I've had my experiences I shared earlier in the podcast
Yeah.
about with him as well, where I'm actually hearing his voice in my head, which is very odd because it's been 11 some odd years since his
Yeah.
passing, and I'm hearing his voice like I heard it yesterday, you know,
Right.
or heard it like before he passed, you know. So you know, most people would tend to forget what someone's voice sounds like by then, even like their face
Yeah.
and everything. But I see a picture of them, but like I'm hearing his voice again, and it's kind of creepy, but at the same time, it's very comforting.
Yeah.
So I kind of told that experience fast. I'm sorry, you're better at telling it than I was. Yeah, I mean you're the one who experienced it, not me. So it's hard for me to explain it.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe I get my mom here on the show for a day or something. She can tell it. Uh,
Yeah.
but anyways, yeah. I think we're about done. We're about ready to wrap it up. We might end it a little early unless we got some more to it.
I can't really think of much else to really discuss. I mean, like I said, I believe that we're more susceptible during when we're sleeping
Oh
to
yeah,
things.
100%.
100%. I believe that we kind of do experience things during our dreams. Like we're actually experiencing them, whether it's through another version of ourselves, possibly an alternate version or something. The fact that I can physically feel things in my dreams says to me that I must actually be having contact with whatever it is I'm dreaming about to a degree.
Okay, so there we go. Like she said, we had no details at the time. Later, we did find out, or at least they say it was like that, a blast, and that was it. They said it was instant. Yeah,
Mm,
so yeah, I do remember that. At the time, we didn't know how he died. We just knew that he passed away over there in Afghanistan. And
yeah.
it wasn't until later that we found out it was an IED. But that night that we got notified, that's when my mom heard that, like a blast went off. I looked up the story for it. Apparently, it was like 200 pounds of explosives.
Ooh,
Yeah, and they placed it
damn,
underneath the road, and it blew up their MRAP. It
damn.
wasn't just my friend who passed away. There was 5 others in the vehicle that were with him that passed away as well.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it was definitely a surreal feeling.
yeah.
I'm a bit shooken
Because
up just talking about it, but I've kind of coped better with it over the years.
yeah. We used to game with them as well.
Yes.
Like,
Oh yeah, he's not just my
I
friend. I keep saying my friend, but yeah, you know him as well.
yeah, yeah. We used to play Battlefield Bad Company 2 together and things like that back in the day. I had lots of great conversation with them. They were solid guy, definitely. And when I had the news as well, it was very saddening to me because I also knew them. Um, and it doesn't matter how far away you are. People say that online friends aren't really your friends. I call BS to that. I like Josh was an online friend for since like 2009, 2010, whatever. Rainbow Six Vegas 2. Me and him have such a connection. Just because someone's far away does not mean they are not your proper friend.
We knew each other
And
way before that.
it really does hurt.
2006, I think, is when we met or talked at least.
Rainbow Six Vegas 2 came out in 2008.
It must have been around then. 2008 then.
Yeah.
I thought it was longer than that, but
I know, right? It's hard to keep track. But yeah, I knew them as well, and it's a terrible shame and a terrible loss.
But all right, so we're ending on a more positive note here, and with my branding of get on our Discord. What are you doing? Why are you not on our Discord? Everybody who's in the stream chat right now, get on Discord. Make a profile.
Us.
Come join us. Come join us. It's free. It's free. I don't charge a dime. Not even a penny. Get on. Come join us.
Nope.
Join the discussions. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Join us on YouTube. Watch past videos. I'm sure you guys want to watch the aliens one again. That was cool, right? Remember when we talked about aliens? It's on YouTube.
I remember. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I
was...
mean, check us out there. Go on our Discord. We're gonna keep branching out and getting bigger. Anything that's free that we can do, we're gonna do. Right? I don't like charging people.
Oh yeah.
I have a job. I don't need your money. I make my own money. I want it to be free so we
Right.
can all have a fun community together. All right?
Exactly.
So
No paywalls.
yeah, no paywalls whatsoever. All right? If you want to, cool. I'm gonna take it. I'm probably gonna donate to charity. All right? And let you pick the charity. I'd much rather you go do that yourself, anyways. Go donate to a charity of your choice, not mine.
Yeah.
But join us on Discord. Join us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, dislike, comment, what have you. Which makes us a fun, free community.
Exactly.
And
It's for your continued support that this will be a much more thriving and welcoming place.
And Aaron will be picking next week's episode. Don't tell him yet. We'll figure it out, and we'll leave it a mystery for you guys.
Yeah. Mystery
spooky.
topic.
All right.
Open the mystery box.
All right, guys. Much love to you all.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you guys didn't need your tinfoil hats today.
Yeah. Or maybe you do. Maybe something's trying to get into your brains now. Quick, put it back on.
Yeah, right. But no, stay curious. Stay thinking. See you guys next week.
Have a wonderful night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.